Looking for attractive savings options? LIC presents Nav Jeevan Shri Single Premium Plan. Deposit lump sum premium amount. Enjoy life insurance cover. Get guaranteed fixed amount on maturity. Liquidity options also available. Buy now. Attractive rebates for existing policy holders. Terms and conditions apply.
Helps beat sensitivity fast. Sensodyne Rapid Relief.
क्या है भाई तानू? अचानक दर्द उठिया। ठीक है सर?
हाँ, बस आया तेज हो गया।
डॉक्टर ने दिखा रहा है।
डॉक्टर का मतलब खर्चा?
प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल का बिल इंश्योरेंस कवर करोगी कि नहीं?
मुख्यमंत्री सहज योजना कार्ड हैगा? फिर कोई टेंशन नहीं, थोड़ा सारा ट्रीटमेंट कैशलेस हो।
पैसे ज्यादा लगणगे?
चिंता ना करो, सारा इलाज बिना पैसे दे होएगा।
बिना पैसे दे?
जी हाँ, पंजाब सरकार पहली स्टेट सरकार बनी है जो ये सुविधा दे रही है।
हरेक नागरिक जिहड़ा है वो मुख्यमंत्री सेहत कार्ड जो बन गया तो 10 लाख रुपये का मुफ्त ते कैशलैस जिहड़ा इलाज कराउण दे काबिल भी होगा, एलिजिबल भी होगा।
The Punjab government has introduced the world's first health scheme. Now, no citizen of Punjab will be denied quality treatment due to lack of money. Healthcare is a right for all.
जो टॉस हारा नाइट ड्यूटी उसकी।
डन। हेड्स।
अरे यार।
Yes. अपनों का भरोसा आप और आपके लिए
एक्सिस मैक्स लैब इंश्योरेंस।
भरोसा तुम हो।
रिश्तों को रंग दो, दुनिया को रंग दो।
Birla Opus Paints.
देश में सबसे ज्यादा हवाई अड्डों वाला राज्य, देश में सबसे अधिक एक्सप्रेस वे वाला प्रदेश, मेट्रो नेटवर्क में अग्रणी राज्य, भारत का MSME हब, ये है भारत की विकास यात्रा का एक मजबूत आधार स्तंभ उत्तर प्रदेश। विकसित भारत विकसित यूपी के थीम पर मनाया गया यूपी दिवस। रेवेन्यू सरप्लस और सुशासन की पहचान के साथ प्रदेश आज निरंतर प्रगति के पथ पर है अग्रसर।
अब तो भारत की इकोनॉमी का ग्रोथ इंजन बनकर के उत्तर प्रदेश देश के विकास में अपना योगदान प्रभावी ढंग से दे रहा है।
प्रदेश का कुल निर्यात 86,000 करोड़ से बढ़कर 1.86 लाख करोड़ के हुआ पार, जो है प्रदेश की वैश्विक आर्थिक छलांग का सशक्त प्रमाण। संस्कृति के संरक्षण और विकास के संकल्प के साथ परिवर्तन और आत्मगौरव का नया अध्याय रच रहा है उत्तर प्रदेश।
Introducing Motorola Signature.
सर पानी लीजिए पानी।
गर्मी हटाओ, 30 का ले जाओ।
20 का 1, 40, 50 का पानी का
बहुत शोर मचा रहे हो तुम लोग। कोई शोर है? प्योरिटी और प्राइस में श्योर। 1 लीटर कैंपा श्योर सिर्फ 15 रुपए में। शुक्र है श्योर है।
Dadu, do you want to upgrade to business class?
Why not? Great flying, Captain.
Get an assured buyback value of up to 60%. Drive India's #1 EV, MG Windsor. Live business class.
भाई कोई कूल बैंक बताओ ना जिसके लिए हर कस्टमर इंपॉर्टेंट हो।
SBI कूलेस्ट है।
What?
किसान से NRI तक, Gen A से Gen Z तक, SBI सबके लिए है।
Very good.
SBI, the banker to every Indian. Truly.
This is big breaking news that is coming to us this morning from Mumbai. We are being told that at least 4 rounds of gunfire were reported at the Juhu residence of filmmaker Rohit Shetty. Mumbai's police commissioner Deven Bharati has now confirmed to us that unknown miscreants opened fire at the building where the director resides. In fact, we are being told that police officials right now are saying, at least right now are saying, there have been no injuries that have been reported. The area has now been cordoned off. Ladies and gentlemen, these pictures from Rohit Shetty's building. The entire area has been cordoned off. Security outside his residence has also been significantly tightened. As of now, as we speak, multiple units including zonal police teams and the Mumbai Police Crime Branch are deployed to investigate who was responsible for this firing. In fact, CCTV footage in and around that area and other forensic evidence is also being probed as we speak. This comes on the back, ladies and gentlemen, of some degree of threat outside Salman Khan's residence. There was firing outside his residence more than a couple of months ago. The person held responsible was the Lawrence Bishnoi gang. We do know in Mumbai there has been a precedence where you had a senior politician, Baba Siddiqui, being killed. Let me go straight across to Nilesh, who is joining us on the broadcast. Nilesh, this is worrying news once again coming in from Mumbai. Does the police have a sense on who possibly could be behind this? Because, all the firings and all the threat perception that film stars and Bollywood has received has actually come from Lawrence Bishnoi. All right, I believe we are having some issues connecting with Nilesh. We'll try and go across to him as soon as we can. Ladies and gentlemen, for the moment, the house you're seeing on your screens, the terrace that you're seeing on your screens is Bollywood director Rohit Shetty. The last film he directed was Singham Returns, I think. And post that today, the news that is coming in is that at least 4 shots have been fired outside his residence. There is a heavy police deployment, as you can see, right outside his residence now. Who is it exactly trying to threaten Rohit Shetty, and why is the question that the Mumbai police will need to answer? For the moment, ladies and gentlemen, I'm slipping into a quick break on the show. We continue with our budget coverage after that. Do stay with us.
Bittu and Kittu. Same. Tattoo Vattu. Same. Summer vacations. Same. Houses, cars.
Same. But mileage not same. But how does yours give so much more mileage? Ask this question not just to your car but also to your fuel. Good fuel means better mileage. Petrol at GOBP with international active technology increases mileage up to 100 kilometers per year. And diesel gives up to 4.3% more mileage at no extra cost.
Now their mileage.
Same. ਕੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਭਾਈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ? ਅਚਾਨਕ ਦਰਦ ਉੱਠਿਆ।
ठीक है सर? हाँ, बस आया तेज हो गया।
ਡਾਕਟਰ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾ ਲੈ।
ਡਾਕਟਰ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਖਰਚਾ?
प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल ਦਾ ਬਿੱਲ इंश्योरेंस कवर करूगी कि नहीं?
मुख्यमंत्री सहयोजना कार्ड हैगा? फिर कोई टेंशन नहीं, थोड़ा सारा ट्रीटमेंट कैशलेस हो।
पैसे ज्यादा लगणगे?
चिंता ना करो, सारा इलाज बिना पैसों दे होएगा।
बिना पैसों दे?
जी हाँ, पंजाब सरकार पहली स्टेट सरकार बनी है जो ये सुविधा दे रही है।
हरेक नागरिक जिहड़ा है वो मुख्यमंत्री सेहत कार्ड जो बन गया तो 10 लाख रुपये का मुफ्त ते कैशलैस जिहड़ा इलाज कराउण दे काबिल भी होगा, एलिजिबल भी होगा।
The Punjab government has introduced the world's first health scheme. Now, no citizen of Punjab will be denied quality treatment due to lack of money. Healthcare is a right for all.
Pressure, passion, and pride collide for one title. Emotions running high. No room for error as the final approaches. Tata WPL, Eliminator 3rd February. Final 5th February at 6:30 p.m.
At the World Economic Forum, Uttar Pradesh's push on deep tech showed real traction.
The state secured multiple data infrastructure and AI-focused commitments and advanced talks that underline its ambitions in hyperscale compute and AI campuses. UP sees data centers and AI as strategic enablers, powering GCCs, AI labs, fintech and services, while also attracting high-value employment and R&D that feed the knowledge economy. The state explicitly framed data infrastructure as core to its digital ambitions at Davos.
हमारे डे टू डे के कार्यों में एक पत्र भी ड्राफ्ट करना है तो यही आपके लिए उपयोगी हो सकता है, बहुत उपयोगी हो सकता है और मुझे लगता है ये आज की आवश्यकता है.
At the WEF, UP secured flagship commitments for AI-ready and hyperscale compute, including an AI compute center and AI city concept, and other pacts that fold data infrastructure into wider industrial and energy strategies. UP has been building the enablers, designated data center parks and ESDM clusters, accelerated land allotment, grid access, and a focus on renewable power tie-ups so data campuses can run on low-carbon energy. UP is aligning higher education, specialized skilling and research initiatives so data campuses find local talent and AI research partners. This is part of a long-term push to make deep tech a homegrown capability, not just an import of compute. With hyperscale MOUs, renewable ties and an active conversion pipeline, Uttar Pradesh is positioning itself as a serious national hub for AI compute and advanced digital infrastructure. And Davos has turned interest into an actionable pipeline.
Everything is new except the attitude. The all-new Seltos. Badass forever.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
My son Ishan will become a doctor, a big doctor. My Ishan will be a scientist. So what's Ishan going to be?
Ishan? Whatever Ishan becomes, LIC's Amrit Bal Children Policy will always be there for him. बड़े सपनों का रखे ख्याल.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sharp at 11 o'clock this morning, a Sunday morning, we will have Nirmala Sitharaman make a record of sorts when she presents her 9th consecutive budget. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one budget is being asked to do many things. It is being asked to support growth, to crowd in private investment, protect macro stability, and reassure markets. So essentially what we are expecting today's budget to be is going to be a Dhurandhar budget. But in the times of political volatility that we see across the world, can the government really afford to give a big bang budget which is bold, or will it want to be more conservative? That is a question, of course, that will be answered in a bit from now. We'll be joined by our guests this morning. I'll introduce you to them in just a bit. Hi everyone, good morning. Thank you very much for your time. Manish, thank you. Head of Sales, Orissa, joining us on the broadcast. Dr. Sujit Paul, Group CEO of Zota Healthcare. Thank you very much. Good morning to you as well. Akash Bansal, co-founder and CEO of Vijaya Fintech. Thank you very much for joining us. And Rahul Pandit, member CII at the National Council on Tourism, is a member from Uttar Pradesh. He's also UPCM's economic advisor, joining us on the group. Thank you. Thank you all, gentlemen, for joining us. But first, I'm going to go across straight to Kritika, who's joining us live from Nirmala Sitharaman's residence, from right outside Nirmala Sitharaman's residence. Kritika, it's what, 7:34, and I'm fairly certain that the finance minister is already ready to leave her residence, because before she actually gets to Parliament, there are things to be done, including having a cup of tea with the president.
Well, yes, in fact, it's an early morning start for all of us and Finance Minister included. In fact, we're standing right outside her residence as well. At around 8:30 is when she's expected to depart from here to the North Block as well with the Bahi Khata in her hand, the ledger, of course, of the union budget. And as you were rightly pointing out, all eyes on it. But before she reaches the Parliament and, in fact, the Cabinet meeting, which will also give its assent and approval to the union budget, she'll also be meeting the President and taking her approval as well. So all of these crucial formalities will also be seeing starting in just a very short while from now. And as you were saying, all expectations, in fact, as a salaried person, for the middle class, of course, tax relief remains to be one of the top expectations that are currently to the people also that we were speaking to earlier in the morning. That is what they're reiterating. This being an election year, of course, we can also see a lot of major announcements coming in for those states as well, the way we saw it happen for Bihar last year as well. And with her 9th consecutive budget, it is also, as our sources are telling us in the Finance Ministry, expected to be quite a unique and, in fact, unprecedented budget as well, with both short-term and long-term goals clearly defined in Part B. So in just a short while from now, a lot more activity in this corner. Over to you.
All right, we'll leave it there for the moment and come back to your corner, Kritika, as soon as that activity starts. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Dr. Paul, can I just come to you first, since you are associated with a sector that we deal with almost on an everyday basis, right? Healthcare. So healthcare has evolved. Is evolving, it has to, terms are rising, given that we now have an aging population. And
so thank you so much. As what I had mentioned yesterday in my pre-budget pointers, is that this will be one of the best budgets that India have ever seen in healthcare. As the Union Budget 2026-27 approaches, the Indian healthcare and pharmaceutical sectors are advocating for a shift from volume to value. ये आपको देखने में मिलेगा, from volume to value. And the industry's primary demand is to increase public healthcare spending to 2.5% of GDP. आपको याद रखना पड़ेगा, we are currently at roughly around 1.9%. And this is what will actually build a future-ready healthcare. Now, जो मुझे दिख रहा है, what I understand is that there will be a lot of focus on R&Ds, which will definitely be there, and the industry is a strong advocating for the restoration of the 200% weighted tax reductions on R&D expenditures. You will see a lot of PLI 2.0 coming up. So while the first production line incentive schemes, आपको याद होगा, focused on active pharmaceutical ingredients, the sector expects a PLI 2.0 on expansion that covers the medical devices and diagnostic equipments. Now for pharma, retail and OTC, definitely regulation clarity would need to be there. Retailers are looking for clearer guidelines on over-the-counter, the OTC drugs that we say, to expand their market. They're projected to reach roughly around 98,000 crores by 2030. So there will be lots and lots that we would expect from healthcare. You will have a lot of focus definitely on the villages that would come through. AI and digital health would be a very strong focus this time, because our Honorable Prime Minister always spoke about that. And I think AI and digital health will get a complete different movement, where you will see Ayushman Bharat digital mission coming up very, very strongly. And that have to be a strong push that would happen. See, if you really see overall, I have told yesterday, this will be one of the best budgets in healthcare that I expect to come.
Okay. Can I just get in Manish here? Manish, there is, a lot of talk about AI in healthcare. Can I ask, and there is, we believe, going to be a lot of focus on AI, but what exactly? There are people who are watching here saying AI to sab bol rahe hain, lekin budget AI ke liye kya karega? And how does that benefit the middle class in this country?
Firstly, very good morning. Now, in terms of the budget that I'm expecting, right? I mean, from an AI sector perspective, there has been a lot of progress the government has made in the last couple of years. The India AI mission is obviously the flagship program of the government, which it is allocated close to 10,000 crores over the next 5 years allocation, right? So, but what we see is in this day and age, and that we see it regularly, is AI is actually being implemented by a lot of these enterprises on a daily basis, right? On a regular basis as well. And it's not just the enterprises, it's even the government. The governments are also adopting AI in a lot of citizen-facing initiatives, be it healthcare, agriculture, or even your day-to-day activities as well, right? So we see a lot of adoption happening in AI on a regular basis. Now, what we expect from a budget perspective, obviously, is for AI to really flourish. GPUs are the most important commodity for startups like us, right? If we have to make any kind of innovations, obviously GPUs are the bottlenecks that we typically see in this industry. So what we are expecting is a lot of doubling down of the government on GPUs, particularly allocating them to startups, which will further fuel innovation as we move along, right?
But Manish, there are a lot of people who are hearing you talk and saying, but AI is going to take away our jobs.
Right. Now, that will happen, right? To some extent, not every job. There will be a lot of new jobs which will be created as well. But yes, the lower service class jobs, which probably will get eliminated with AI to some extent, right? And there should be a policy initiative to actually reskill.
That is going to be the challenge, I think, Manish. You know, the government is telling us that we are in a Goldilocks moment. The chief economic advisor has used that term, Rahul Pandit. He's saying, look at us. We have strong growth. We have low inflation. Our inflation is stabilized. When you compare India's inflation to global levels, we are far lower. Our fundamentals are stable. Yet the mood of the nation is cautiously optimistic because there are things like jobs that still need to be created. Are we creating enough jobs, enough decent paying jobs for our young demographic? I think the answer to that question is no. But Rahul, as a member of the CII, National Council on Tourism, I want to ask you what you expect, because India will need growth drivers, and tourism is where we have our hopes high.
Thank you, Hina. You are absolutely right. And the Prime Minister has already given a clarion call saying reform, perform and transform. And I think this time, the Honorable Minister of Finance, she has a big task ahead of her to actually channelize Saraswati in the policies to reform, to channelize Lakshmi to perform for prosperity, and to channelize Ma Durga to transform. And you're absolutely right on the need for jobs creation. Tourism is actually amongst the largest employment creators in India. It is 6.7% of India's GDP and 9% of employment. And it generates $250 billion contribution to the country. What is the big opportunity? Especially as you were speaking of AI, because tourism is going to be an island where human connect and human jobs are critical. So if we quickly see in our neighborhood on the west, UAE, 15% of the GDP is tourism and Thailand is 20%. In the next 10 years, if we aim with this budget to have a balance sheet approach and we take India to 20% of jobs creation through tourism, it would effectively mean adding another $500 billion to our economy and creating 100 million jobs. That's like adding a mid-sized G20 economy to us.
True.
But if you take this balance sheet approach, what is most critical is, you can't raise elephants on peanuts. If tourism is today giving 9% of jobs to the country,
correct.
The allocation in the last budget was 0.06%. So 2,541 crores for an industry which is generating 250 billion. Now, what is hugely critical for that is two things structurally. We have to increase and scale up our supply. In India, we have only 200,000 recognized hotel rooms. UAE has 220,000. Vietnam has 800,000. Thailand has 900,000. Japan has 20 million. Japan has 2 million.
Wow.
And China has 7 million. Now, and the advantage is, with the strong government in place, we need to be building India for a Viksit Bharat, that balance sheet. So what are the top two things we need to do? First is we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's see what's already happening in India. Maharashtra and Assam in their latest tourism policies, have a 15-year SGST reimbursement. That should be rolled out nationally. Odisha, in its latest tourism policy, has a 30% capex subsidy, effectively for viability gap funding. That has to be rolled out nationally.
Okay.
Along with that, India needs today a $10 billion tourism fund, which is structured like an InvIT, with both private and government participation. And we could consider assets of, for example, ITDC and the state governments to be the seed there.
Okay. Okay, Rohit, I'm just going to turn our focus now to Akash Bansal. He's the co-founder and CEO of Vijaya Fintech. Akash, I wonder whether you were with us on the broadcast when he started at 7 o'clock, because we went to our reporters across the country and they were speaking to people across the country. And the one thing that cropped up again and again, Akash, I'm fairly certain this sawal has been asked to you by 1 million family members as well. This gold ka price and silver ka price is going too high. The point is, gold and silver imports have surged to record highs. We know that. What that also ends up doing is that ends up widening our trade deficit. It puts pressure on our rupee as well. Therefore, the question and the fear is, will import duties on precious metals be raised? It has been done before. Will it be done again?
I think, thank you. So my view is that, we have been telling our country, Bharat, as Sone ki Chidiya before independence. And in the 2047 Viksit Bharat vision, can we become the Sone ki Chidiya again? Is a question that Finance Minister has a tough job ahead in terms of presenting today's budget. I think I would like to draw some points, on going back to 2004, where long-term capital gains was abolished and STT was introduced, but that promise was broken in 2018 by reintroducing the long-term capital gains to 10% and again increasing it to 12.5%. I think if we have to become that Sone ki Chidiya again and bring in lot of inflows and give relief to Aam Aadmi, the middleman, we believe that the long-term capital gains either should be abolished or should be at least graded structure, where, at least 5 years plus holdings should be tax-free. I also believe that, imagine you have one passport for one country, and now if a foreigner comes to India and he has to apply different visas for different cities, if he has to go to Delhi, he applies for a different visa. He comes to Mumbai, he applies for a different visa. That's exactly what is happening in financial services, where we don't have one nation, one KYC. I think a lot of, thought processes has to be put across, where can we bring in one nation, one KYC model, where if you have a bank account, for example, why do you even have to, open different KYCs?
True,
and,
agreed.
And I think, from a startup point of view, I believe that one thing that we all have been asking for many years now is, you have been taxing us on dreams. ESOPs have been taxed when you vest it. If India has to become the startup Silicon Valley for the world, madam, please allow ESOPs to be taxed when on realization, not on the dream or on paper. Well, I think one nation, one KYC, bringing back the long-term capital gains, or abolishing, helping the middle class, provide capital to startups.
Akash, I feel your pain on taxes. But the one thing we know is that there are only two certainties in life: death and taxes, and of course, Mr. Trump saying and doing something stupid again. We'll leave it there for the moment, gentlemen. Thank you very much. This was a brief chat, but a good one. Akash, good to have you on the show. Rahul, thank you very much for your time as well. Thank you, Dr. Sujit Paul, for being with us, and thank you, Manish, for being with us on the broadcast as well. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, a quick break. Our budget coverage continues right here on Times Now. Do stay with us.
LIC brings its Navjeevan Shri for young professionals. Pay regular premiums. Enjoy life insurance.
Earn guaranteed additions as a percentage of premium. Create a guaranteed corpus at maturity for your dream goals. Attractive
Let the thrill begin.
The all-new Hyundai Venue. Bookings open.
She asks tough questions like no other journalist.
Droopy volatility, driven by global markets, domestic mismanagement or tax? Global. Domestic mismanagement to ho nahi sakti, you'll never confess. It was supposed to be one nation, one tax. It became something like one nation, 9 taxes.
She takes on the masters of Indian politics like no one else can.
Why does the Congress party live in denial of this? That this was done on religious lines and then killing them. Biggest difference working in the UPA government and the NDA government.
Because she speaks for you the way no one else can.
Are you saying Jeffrey Epstein was murdered?
Because your voice must be heard, your questions answered, above all else. Frankly Speaking with Navika Kumar.
Time now.
Morarji Desai has presented the maximum number of budgets so far. He has presented 10 budgets in his political career. While Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister from 1970 to 1971, she also held the finance portfolio. His first budget was the most controversial. Pranab Mukherjee sparked controversy with the decision to take a loan from the International Monetary Fund. But he would continue as FM for another 2 years. The year 1982. In his first budget, Pranab Mukherjee set the stage for India Inc.'s most celebrated takeover, allowing NRIs to purchase shares of companies.
Practically all the concessions which I have announced in the budget proposals lead to the savings.
He has always been credited with having a forward-looking approach. In 1982, Pranab had identified the increasing trend towards protectionism in the West that still persists today. In 1984, Pranab was rated the best finance minister in the world by a European magazine, an honor for the minister who had just presented his second budget. In 2010, Pranab Mukherjee was rated the best finance minister in the world by a magazine credited with steering the Indian economy.
The Amrita MBA. The Amrita MBA is more than a degree. It's a transformational journey that blends academic rigor with real-world relevance. With fully residential campuses across India, Amrita's business schools stand apart for their academic excellence and international recognition. Apply now. Amrita MBA.
Let the thrill begin.
The all-new Hyundai Venue. Bookings open.
She asks tough questions like no other journalist.
Droopy volatility driven by global markets, domestic mismanagement or tax. Global. Domestic mismanagement to ho hi nahi sakti, you'll never confess. It was supposed to be one nation, one tax. It became something like one nation, 9 taxes.
She takes on the masters of Indian politics like no one else can.
Why does the Congress party live in denial of this? That this was done on religious lines and then killing them. Biggest difference working in the UPA government and the NDA government.
Because she speaks for you the way no one else can.
Are you saying Jeffrey Epstein was murdered?
Because your voice must be heard, your questions answered, above all else. Frankly Speaking with Navika Kumar.
कुछ तो फूल खिलाए हमने और कुछ फूल खिलाने हैं। मुश्किल ये है बाग में अब तक कांटे कई पुराने हैं। Though the union budget is essentially a statement of account of public finances, it has historically become a significant opportunity to indicate the direction and pace of India's economic policy. My proposals, therefore, lay down the roadmap for accelerating growth, enhancing investment, and passing on the benefit of growth process to the common man, woman, youth, and child, those whose quality of life needs to be improved. This is the path we will doggedly and relentlessly pursue. As the Prime Minister has often said, we are a round-the-clock, round-the-year government.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In just 3 hours from now, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present her record ninth budget. The only woman finance minister in the country to hold this unique record of presenting 9 consecutive budgets under Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But this budget is very different from the past 8 budgets of the Modi government. We are in a rare Goldilocks phase, high growth, low inflation. Our macroeconomic particulars are looking extremely healthy. India is seen as a bright spot in the global economy that is facing geopolitical storms. Resilient, stable, and marching forward. Our growth rate remains fastest in the world. But. What's a story without suspense? Experts say we need to be careful of the word that begins with the letter T, that is threat. The rules-based order is threatened by the law of the jungle. India has managed to turn tariff threat into an opportunity by signing a number of FTAs, including the mother of all deals with the EU. But it won't really be that easy ahead for Bharat to become Viksit by 2047 in a fragmented world. India needs some big, bold reforms, setting the tone for reforms. The Prime Minister, ahead of the budget, said India is on a reform express. And while we may expect some key budget announcements today, on that front, the opposition has remained unconvinced, as always, over the last 11.5 years. The term dead economy is not Rahul Gandhi's original creation. We know who said it first, but Rahul Gandhi wants to now patent this line for India under Modi.
लेकिन इस सरकार की ये पहचान रही है रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म एंड ट्रांसफॉर्म। और अब तो हम रिफॉर्म एक्सप्रेस पर चल पड़े हैं। आज समय समाधान का है। मैं सभी माननीय सांसदों से आग्रह करूंगा कि वे आए, राष्ट्र के लिए आवश्यक समाधानों के दौर को हम गति दें, निर्णयों को हम शक्ति दें और लास्ट माइल डिलीवरी में हम सफलतापूर्वक आगे बढ़े।
He's right. I mean, everybody knows this, except the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. Everybody knows that the Indian economy is a dead economy. I'm glad that President Trump has stated a fact.
Well, Rahul Gandhi is not somebody who gets convinced very easily, and Prime Minister Modi keeps chugging along, taking that criticism in his stride. But today, as we decode what's ahead in the budget, what Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is going to bring for all of us, I'm joined by a very, very distinguished panel of experts, starting with you, Monica Hallan. Monica Hallan, who doesn't know her? I wish I could just hand over all my money, whatever there is left after taxes, to you and plan it for me, because whichever way I invest it, it doesn't seem to get me anywhere. So, Monica Hallan, what are your three big expectations from Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman this morning?
I'm hoping that she does not give in to the bank lobbying and increase the long-term capital gains tax. Okay. The Indian SIP investor has really held the line. Yes. When the FIIs have been taking money out, it is the 2,000 rupee SIP that Mr. Jain in Noida does, which is holding up the markets.
Mrs. Kumar in Noida as well.
That's right. So I'm just hoping that, the banks need to get that act together, but trying for parity with the risk asset is not the way to go. So that is one, definitely.
Okay.
And I think they need to take away the tax benefit for life insurance policies, because those are heavily missold through the same banks. So take that away, absolutely. And the last is more macro, which is something I've been saying. I would hope for a policy statement for something called a seller beware market in retail finance. Let the person selling the product be responsible for what she sells, and let the household be a partner and not a victim of financialization.
I'm all for empowering all of those consumers who get conned out there. So that's Monica Hallan. Good morning to you, Dr. Anand Ranganathan.
Good morning.
Are you in a okay mood, or are you angry with the Congress party for something? And what are your big expectations this morning?
No, good morning to you and to my wonderful fellow panelists. I speak here as a pure layman. And I think when you asked what are our expectations, I would say right now we are truly at an inflection point. We've pried open the door to real prosperity, but everything would crumble to dust if we do not reform.
What is the one big reform you're looking at?
There are 3 or 4 big reforms I'm looking at. One is the farm law should be brought back. The second is privatization should be done with an absolute, gusto. And where do I even begin on the science and tech reforms? But I think this should be more than a dream budget. This should be a scream budget. We are screaming for reforms. And every time what happens, in that sense, if I have 30 seconds, I want to explain this with a metaphor.
You'll take them anyway, so go ahead.
Okay. India has been suffering with a rotten tooth. And every year we come along and do the root canal treatment. Sometimes we even put a gold filling, upar wo capital investment infusion kar diya. We need to pluck the tooth out, We need
to have dentures imported from
China. I don't know about that.
Imported from.
But reform. There will be no perform or transform without reform.
Okay, I take your word for it. But farm laws, if you expect them to come up, I think you're just in for a cup of coffee and nothing much in the budget if you're expecting the farm laws to come in with the elections in 5 states around the corner. Jaggi, it's wonderful to have you back in our studios. And who needs any introduction of R. Jagannathan? Economist par excellence, and he's been somebody we've looked up to as a journalist. Jaggi, what are your big expectations from this budget?
First thing, you must lower those big expectations, because last year it was Chappar Far Ke budget and Chappar Far Ke GST benefits, right? So nobody at the individual level should be expecting any great concessions. This is about broad picture things. This is for the first time we have entered into so many FTAs with so many countries. So this year is about preparation. This year is making an industrial policy, which now, by the way, all nations are adopting, to make it work, which means you have to be focused on sectors, supply chains, you got to make sure logistics works. Those are the things. And more than being in a Goldilocks economy, we are actually in a Goldlocks economy, which means we are moving away from a dollar standard to something that is multi-standard, even Goldlocks. Every country is buying gold, and you know where the prices of gold are in the stratosphere.
But it just crashed 2 days ago.
No, that's okay. It's good that it crashes, because it's becoming irrational.
Really good.
But, pearl necklace. And the government has made a disastrous decision when it started this sovereign gold bonds. It has to now, that luckily they stopped it about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
2.5% interest on that.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's giving a free lunch and extremely good dessert.
And a dessert to go with it.
Yeah, so I think this, we have to look at each sector separately, reverse the inverted structures. You have to make sure that you have to look at each sector carefully, bit by bit, and making sure that each one of them works. Because when the EU FTA starts working by the end of the year or early next year, remember, this is the mother of all deals, but EU is the mother of all regulators. Okay, so if you are not able to meet those regulatory standards, whether CBAM or whatever it is, your trade is not going to flourish. So you have to do those micro reforms at every level of government, center, state, local, and that can't be done in the budget. The budget can give the roadmap, but the pit stops are more
that's
important.
what the budget strives to do. I also want to introduce my colleagues. Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan joining this broadcast. Good morning to you, Madhav. Also joining me, Hina Gambhir. She has her pulse on what's happening. We used to be so used to saying North Block, but now we have to say Kartavya Bhavan.
By the way, this time the halwa ceremony happened and they did not release pictures.
Why?
Because it was a new location probably. I mean, we're still waiting for...
Cameras are portable these days. They could have gone to the new location.
You remember that picture of the finance minister that went viral when she was standing like this and eating halwa?
I think Rahul Gandhi and his caste description did it. Since then, we've not seen too many halwa pictures coming out. Is that true, Madhav?
Well, I don't know about Rahul Gandhi and his impact, but certainly Kartavya Bhavan and its security standards are being spoken about quite heavily. Whether that has something to do with this, we don't know. But what is the halwa that will come out as far as the budget is concerned? What will happen to our personal taxes? All of those are going to be part B. But part B is supposed to be bigger. So what happens there? That's going to be a big question.
Jaggi has already told you, and just take his word for it. You're getting nothing at the individual taxpayer level. So just take a deep breath, alom vilom. Morning session is something that will keep our expectations under control. But let me come back to Rohit Azad. And Rohit Azad, what are your expectations?
I think one thing which nobody is discussing is the issue of pollution. I think it's a big public health risk. And if there's one thing which this budget needs to do, it needs to do something on pollution. North India is just unlivable. I mean, all of us know how Delhi is fared. 2 days, just 2 days in a year is what we get in terms of clean air. That is a serious problem, and the budget can do something about it. I don't know whether it would. So we need a Clean Air Act. I think the second thing I would say which is important is gainful employment. That is something which drives your economy. That is what generates mass demand. And I think that is something which needs to be addressed. And third, which is linked to it, is how do you propel corporate investment? Government cannot be doing the weightlifting alone. So there needs to be something there. Whether it would be or not, we'll see when she speaks.
Well, very cogently put, but when you say meaningful employment, you know, I'm so tempted to get a reaction from Anand Ranganathan. Meaningful employment, who will be first on the list to get that employment? Anand Ranganathan, I'd love to hear what your imagination throws up.
As soon as he returns to India, we'll know.
All right, all right. Phew, you may as well, clean up your clothes. Gusharan Das, good morning. Lovely to have you in our studios. And what are your expectations from this budget, the 9th record budget being presented by Nirmala Sitharaman?
Well, I think the mantra, not only of this budget, but of our economy and of our generation, for the next generation, is the word competitiveness. That unless we become competitive, and that's why I think the turmoil we have gone through is realizing how uncompetitive we are. And that's how we'll create jobs. Jobs is the biggest, formal jobs is the biggest issue. We may be the fastest growing big economy in the world. Inflation may have come down, all the good things you said. But we have failed to create an industrial revolution. And unless manufacturing employs only 11% of the people, 45% of the people are on the farm, and that keeps the farm incomes so low.
The rest is government.
So my point is, there's only one priority. And, you know, the best news of the last year for me was this push for deregulation. We are the most regulated country in the world. Thanks to the Team Lease people, they tell us that there are 1,536 acts that we have to comply with. 6,618 filings have to be done, and 69,233 compliances that have to be done. So the best news was to create the deregulation commissions, these committees, 3 committees, and they have started doing good work. And I would hope that 2026 would be a year when they will really go gangbusters, and they have the support. There's a reform breeze blowing, and ultimately we have to change the mindset of the bureaucracy, the way China did. The bureaucracy has to learn to say yes rather than no, just as politicians have to learn to say no rather than yes. And so, therefore, I would say...
That's a tough one, Gurcharan Das. Politicians have to learn to say no, and bureaucracy has to learn to say yes. And that is a conundrum between which the Indian economy is precariously balanced. That's a tough one. Also joining me this morning, GVL Narasimha Rao, national spokesperson and former Member of Parliament of the BJP. Joining me is Salem Dharnidharan, national spokesperson of the DMK. Tehseen Poonawala joining this broadcast, as is Vivek Srivastav. Salem Dharnidharan, elections in Tamil Nadu, what are you expecting? Do you think Nirmala Sitharaman, because last year you criticized the budget because there was a Bihar budget, and then in election time you said nothing has been given to Bihar. Is it going to be the same from the point of view of Tamil Nadu this time?
No, there are two things, what you allocate and what you actually do. Of course, it was symbolic allocation to states that were going into election, or the states on which the BJP was dependent in running this government. But I'll go beyond politics and say what is important for the country. We need to have better healthcare, we need to have better education, we need to have better employment opportunities. So the spending for healthcare in India is nearly 1/3 of what it is in the developed world. So the healthcare spending, I expect to see it increase. The education budget is one of the lowest.
I just have to interrupt you for a minute. Going across to my colleague Priyank, joining us from Mr. Pankaj Chaudhary's Minister of State for Finance's residence, and those visuals on your screen. The day begins on Raisina Hill as activity begins. Mr. Pankaj Chaudhary, the Minister of State, leaving his residence. Over to you, Priyank. Any word? What is he saying?
Navika, Pankaj Chaudhary is leaving from here. He will be straight away going towards the finance minister. Let's get his reaction. देखिए, पिछले 11 सालों से प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो उनके नेतृत्व में जो बजट पेश हुआ, देश की जनता की आकांक्षाओं पे और देश को आगे बढ़ाने वाला बजट था। और आज का बजट जो पेश हो रहा है 2047 के विकसित भारत को ध्यान में रख करके बजट आएगा।
कैसे देख रहे हैं पंकज जी, क्या रहेगा आज के बजट में?
मैंने पहले भी कहा कि 2047 के विकसित भारत को बनाने के दृष्टिकोण से ये बजट होगा।
Navika, I'm not sure how much we were able to listen to what Pankaj Chaudhary was saying.
We heard it. Viksit Bharat 2047 is the agenda, and that Viksit Bharat is something that is on his agenda. GVL Narasimha Rao, Viksit Bharat is still some time down the line. Till then, there are day-to-day issues that we need to go through. Yes, Viksit Bharat is the objective that we are working towards. But the entire panel of experts here saying that reforms have really been rather slow given the kind of mandate. Do you think this budget is going to see an acceleration of those reforms, the farm laws, great step taken back? How much are we going to work only based on political pressures, and how much are we going to push on reforms, looking at the geopolitical, compulsions that we have today?
Yeah, good morning, Navika, and to all the panelists in the studios. I have been in the same slot with you possibly for the last 10 years, if I distinctly remember. And I have never seen the mood so positive and joyous in your own studios on the budget day. That tells you about the mood of experts, mood of people.
It could only be because we are speaking before the budget. After the budget, there are no guarantees if the mood will sustain.
No. No, in all the last 10 budgets, the mood in the morning itself was so tense, full of anxiety, full of expectations and anxiety. Today, I see a sense of assurance, a sense of calmness. That's just an observation. But throughout the country, every section of the society feels assured that under Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, not only has the economy has been steered very ably, but every section has been taken care of. You don't, in a country of this diversity and size, you will always see some sections in great pain or anxiety, but today I can tell you there is a sense of calmness, sense of assurance, and 11 years of Modi governments versus 21 years of Viksit Bharat to go. Modi ji has set the 11 years innings on a very firm footing. As you rightly mentioned at the start, our macroeconomic fundamentals are extremely positive, extremely strong. Despite the global headwinds, the manner in which the economy is being steered, the manner in which we are trying to ensure that we remain the highest, fastest growing economy in the world. We keep our fiscal deficits at manageable levels, able to reduce the fiscal deficit, able to contain debt to GDP ratios, able to create jobs. I think this is something that people of the country are already experiencing and observing. I can tell you this budget will be certainly a major step towards achieving Viksit Bharat, which fundamentally requires a lot more steam into the economy.
Well, I agree with you, GVL Narasimha Rao. We need to be disciplined, but I don't know where that discipline message goes when elections come, because in every state you are packaging more and more freebies. There is competitive freebie, dole out that happens before elections. 1st of February, you feel like this. I don't know by end of February what you will be doing. That we'll wait and find out. But Tehseen Poonawala, you've been smiling. Are you smiling because you agree with GVL Narasimha Rao, who says there is euphoria and everybody is just so happy on budget morning that everything is in good shape and we are a fit economy, fastest growing large economy, and we've arrived on the global scene? I hope you're agreeing with him.
Good morning, Navika. Good morning to all my fellow panelists. First of all, congratulations to Times Now and the team for 20 years of fantastic journalism.
Thank you very much. And yes, it's a milestone. We are very proud to present.
Me and all of us have been a part of this in a way. So
absolutely. 20 years non-stop on Times Now, and I must have done 36 budgets, including, some of the budgets before election and a new budget after election.
Just the same.
And
yeah.
Thank you very much. Flattery will get you
only the money. Only Navika has more money to do SIPs with Monica. But no, the reason I was smiling is because the Honourable Member Parliament said that nobody is tense, nobody has any expectations. Nobody has any expectations. That's why now we've all released. But there are 2 or 3 things I would like to flag. It is true that the economy is stable, we are fast growing, but one of the major problems that we have is the Babugiri and the regulations in our nation. And we are a country, for every solution the Babu creates a problem. Unless we don't get rid of this problem called Babus, and we have to take tough decisions where we need to start reducing these Babus, compounded with the freebie. Now, the economic survey report speaks about the freebie culture that's going on. This is going to cripple us in the long run. We are spending money that is not ours. only to win elections, and I'm not blaming one single party, but political parties led by the Prime Minister need to sit down and define this. You can't 2 days before an election start putting 10,000 in people's accounts or start giving scooties to women and say this is what it is.
All right, I'm interrupting you. Those are shots of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman leaving her Safdarjung Road residence, going across to Kritika, who's standing by. Kritika, any word?
Well, the finance minister has just left.
Well, we seem to have lost that audio with Kritika, but those are visuals of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, and that's an early start to the day. At 8:24 this morning, both the Minister of State and the Finance Minister have left their residence to go to Kartavya Bhavan. Is the distance increased, Hina?
Well, distance hasn't, but maybe it's a new route this time, and the speech perhaps is going to be longer, so maybe they want to start early. I think that's the only reason.
The speech will only begin at 11 o'clock if I know parliamentary procedures. So,
Absolutely.
leaving early?
Yeah, that's actually quite surprising, because normally we see this post around 9 o'clock typically. And then it's not just the finance ministry. She will, of course, customarily go to Rashtrapati Bhavan. There will be a formality of a cabinet meeting that will happen in parliament as well, and following which the budget speech. So definitely a very early start compared to what we've been seeing over the last several years, which just increases the suspicion and doubt about what is this big announcement, what are this, is it going to be more of a policy directive as Mr. Jagannathan was saying, or is this something specific that's going to be announced as far as this budget is concerned? And of course, Viksit Bharat 2047, what are the big announcements in relation to that? What is the roadmap ahead? What is the vision ahead? All of that perhaps will be only clarified once the speech begins.
Evening only that it's going to
Yes,
be a
we have breaking news coming in, and that is the big breaking news. Exclusive information coming across to us that this time the budget formulations are slightly different from the run-of-the-mill budget. Part A normally had whatever was then done in the policy way, which are the big schemes. Ahead of the budget presentation this time, we had this inside scoop that this year's budget presentation will be a very unique one among all the budgets that we have come across in the last 75 years. Earlier budget speeches typically had a lot of detail in Part A, while Part B was only a few announcements on taxation, excise and customs in the earlier days, some GST indications now. But this time, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is expected to speak in great detail in Part B, giving some short-term and long-term goals. Can you give us details, Hina?
See, Navika, this time the budget's focus is to ensure India becomes Viksit by 2047. And to meet that goal, before that as well, we have certain goals. We want to become the third largest economy by 2030. We are very close to achieving that particular target. But how do we do it given the Trump factor? Because industry has also said, make us Trump-proof. If you want us to invest, if you want us to loosen purse strings, create jobs in the economy, make us Trump-proof. So, you know, the government's task is cut out there. And that's the reason why focus is going to be largely on big bang, bold reforms. That's something that the government is going to be focusing on. Prime Minister himself has said, we are already on Reform Express. Prime Minister has given a clear direction to the industry as well. Pull up your socks, focus on quality, because we have given you the mother of all deals. Now you ensure that you focus on
But can we
quality.
make our growth story Trump-proof? I want to get, you know, across the panel your reactions. Can we make it Trump-proof? Is this something that the government can ensure private sector?
Whatever we've seen till now. So I think Mr. Trump has thrown what he could at us, and I think we've dealt with it fairly well. The economy hasn't crashed. We've seen FII outflows, which is a separate story. Okay, it's partly related to what is happening in the US, but I think we've done well. Look at our growth numbers. Look at the way the macro stability is still in place. So I think the private sector has to just stop crying.
I know, they've been crying forever and ever, Jaggi, and Gursharan Das.
Quick one. I think actually Trump has done us a favor, competitive. we join the global value chains, we're not going to achieve our 2047 Viksit Bharat
Anand
goal.
Ranganathan, you wanted to come in.
Yeah, I have a slightly different perspective. I mean, while my
Always.
good friend...
You can never be following what the Janta is saying. You have to be different.
No, you know, I mean, as opposed to what my good friend Monica says, the private sector has to stop crying. I believe the government has to stop making the private sector cry. You know, there's a very good friend of mine, I don't know whether Monica knows him or not, Gautam Chekarmane. He's...
kind of.
Kind of, just
Kind
about,
of.
yes.
Yeah. They just happen to be married for the last, what, 30 years?
Sorry, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yes. He wrote an incredible, co-authored an incredible work called Jailed for Doing Business. And what he says is that an MSME that employs an average of 150 people spends 18 lakhs per year just in filing compliances. There are 69,000 compliances. The government has to unshackle. If you want it to be competitive, you can't be running on a treadmill. You have
You're
to
preaching to the converted.
Yes.
Everyone on this panel has said that that is the one single biggest problem that our economy has, the number of compliances and regulations that we have. But visuals coming in, and this is the first time I'm excited as a reporter to look at these visuals. First time the finance minister reaching. There she is, the red sari. Is it a Kanjivaram giving indication of the Tamil Nadu elections coming in? I don't know. But normally there is a message even in the sari that she wears. Yes. But she's just reached, going across to my colleague Pragya and also Niyamika, who's joining me from Kartavya Bhavan. Niyamika, she's gone in silently, no word to the media there. Rishabh?
Well, yes, indeed. Just now we have seen that how the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has reached here at Kartavya Bhavan. You can see behind me that these are the pictures from Kartavya Bhavan. Just in a few minutes from now, it is the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman along with her team of experts who are going to be here for the photo opportunity before she will leave for Parliament, as she is going to present the Union Budget for the 9th consecutive time. And for that reason, now firstly she has arrived here at the Finance Ministry, which is currently at Kartavya Bhavan, and along with her team of experts she will be here along holding the Bahi Khata in her hand. As in the visuals we have seen that how today the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is also wearing a red color sari. That is also an indication which she has given, as she will be coming out here in front of media for the pictures before she is going to table the Union Budget for the 9th consecutive time. There are many hopes which the people are having from this particular Union Budget, whether there will be any relief for the middle class people, as how it is going to accelerate the growth of India for achieving the goals of Viksit Bharat 2047.
Absolutely, Niyamika, because the big elephant in the room is how will she pave the way for greater levels of growth to meet the targets of Viksit Bharat by 2047. Rishabh joining us, and Rishabh, there's this very nice convention. The finance minister routinely comes to the finance ministry first, picks up. Earlier it used to be a briefcase with the budget documents, then it went to a Bahi Khata, and then it's moved to a tablet that she carries, and Nirmala Sitharaman doing it out of Kartavya Bhavan for the first time. And when she comes out, the entire team, the budget team of her officials, of the Minister of State, led by the Finance Minister, will now proceed to Rashtrapati Bhavan to brief the President about what the budget really contains, because that's the convention. President, as the head of the Consolidated Fund of India, holds the chabi to the tijori. And the safe where all the money really comes in for government expenditure. So, Rishabh, Finance Minister headed to President House after this?
Well, definitely, Navika, we are here at Kartavya Bhavan 1. This is for the first time that the Finance Ministry has prepared the budget here. Earlier, there used to be a briefcase, then it turned to a Bahi Khata, and now it is a tab, which means that the printing press legacy has now ended. That also significantly means that the quarantine period for the Finance Ministry officials have also decreased. Now, Finance Minister has just reached Kartavya Bhavan. Before her, Pankaj Chaudhary, MOS Finance, and before him it was Finance Secretary Ajay Seth who had reached Kartavya Bhavan. The meeting is going on. After this, at around 9 a.m., what we are given to understand that the team will come here just in front of where we read Kartavya Bhavan 1 for the photo opportunity. From here on, she will move to Rashtrapati Bhavan to brief the first citizen of the country and the head of the Consolidated Fund of India about the budget. From there on, she'll go to Parliament as per procedure, where at 10:30 we are given to understand that the cabinet will sit and pass the budget before it's presented to the Parliament at around 11 a.m. So the schedule is set. But what's new this time? There are certain things that we are looking at between last budget and this budget. If we talk about international relations of this country, EU-India FTA has happened. India, New Zealand FTA has been
New
announced.
Zealand, India, Oman
FTA has happened.
And UAE, yeah. In fact, 4 of those trade deals happening in the last 6 months. And really, India is egging on in the absence of what we say the Trump hangover. We are carrying on. Vivek Srivastav, I want to ask you, are you happy and satisfied that the GDP is cruising along at a very comfortable place? Inflation is down. Things seem to be up, looking up, because unemployment, which had gone up to about 5.2, is down to 4.9. Of course, the lowest point was 3.2% about 2024 end, but not so bad at this moment. So are you happy we are in a good place as an economy, as a country?
No, I think we are a very unbalanced economy. A lot of disparity over there, which as somebody from the left or as a communist, I feel there is a lot of gap between the rich and the poor. I'm expecting the Honorable Finance Minister to say something about the MSP. She promised something about the farmers, point number 1. They badly need it. It's a long-standing demand. What is to be done? And Tehseen here mentioned about free buys, which I agree with him that yes, I mean, whenever elections come, we start distributing money. It should stop, but however, it should not be confused with subsidies. Subsidies are a necessity. Welfare means are a necessity. So we need to have a strong differentiating factor. Nationalization has to happen, and the banking sector is not doing very well as far as I know. Manufacturing is not in a very good shape. Any country which has to grow, be it China or be it the United States, Germany or Japan, the backbone has to be the manufacturing industry. We are not doing well. As somebody from the opposition, I mean, I'm just...
so Vivek Srivastav, I've got a sense of everything that is bad. I want your suggestion. I want your suggestion on what the government should do, which will bring a smile on your face, which you will think, they've done it and done it well. Kya chahiye?
I believe start working more towards reforming and controlling your bureaucracy.
Tell me which reform and how.
Not economic reforms. Not economic reforms. Labor
then
reforms,
which reform? Reforming
labor
mind.
reforms, number 1. I'm telling you, labor reforms. You got the 4 labor codes. Absolutely not. They're not going down with us. All the trade union federations are protesting about it. Since 2019, हमने पूरी कोशिश की लागू ना हो.
Which reform? Please tell me which reform.
Yes, I'm telling you. Number 1, labor reforms. Number 2, MSPs should be implemented as soon as possible. Number 3, ये twisted freebies जैसे आपने लाडली बहन योजना शुरू करा, आपने महाराष्ट्र में करा, इलेक्शन आया, बिहार में क्या इलेक्शन आया, पूरे देश में करेंगे क्या? पूरे देश में करेगी
बीजेपी? Narasimha Rao, on the one hand they want governments to reduce the inequalities, on the other they are against any support that is given to the underprivileged classes. What is it that they are confused about?
Obviously, you see the political reverses that the opposition has suffered. The left is today, except Kerala, they are not to be seen anywhere in the country. The Congress is again going towards extinction. I think they will not be able to return to power in states where they are already in power. So I think they are certainly in pain. This is one section of the country, the opposition, which is certainly not liking the way things are. But people, as I mentioned, are quite happy. Let me tell you about the challenges that we have been talking about. Prime Minister Modi ji loves challenges. Let me say this without any hesitation. He lives up to expectations. I think you put him against a challenge, be it in an election or in an economic situation or a personal adversity, he comes out in flying colors. You look at his history, his track record for 25 years. So therefore, anyone, when the going gets tough, Modi gets going. I think this, you will see this happen repeatedly. That has been his personal, I would say, character, charisma, and that's how he has delivered.
For once, the Congress supporter here is agreeing with you. Are you agreeing with him, Tehseen Poonawalla, or are you agreeing with Rahul Gandhi, who says our economy is a dead economy?
The truth is somewhere in between, ma'am. Let's just say one thing.
Rahul's not right, you're saying.
I don't think it's a dead economy. I really don't think it's a dead economy, and I disagree. And I think
he doesn't take your advice.
May I make a more substantial point, ma'am?
No, but does he take your advice?
If he did, he would have 200 seats. But ma'am, can I make a more substantial point? Can I just make a more substantial point? Look, ma'am, I think the biggest challenge our nation has, apart from these reforms, is tax terrorism and GST. All of these platitudes that GVL Narasimha Rao ji is giving means zero and means nothing. These are vague stuff. Businessmen today, and Monica spoke about investment falling down, or I think Sir spoke about it, investment falling down in manufacturing, etc. The prime cause is not Donald Trump, is not other things. The prime cause is tax terrorism and GST. Ma'am, you said something, and I was a little upset. You said, why do industrialists cry? No, ma'am, we create jobs. We have a right to ask. We are contributors to this nation as much as anybody else, and we are treated extremely badly. We must be treated.
Ask Rahul Gandhi about it, no?
Ma'am, you must allow. Ma'am, you must allow me to make points.
Absolutely bogus, I think.
Are you serious?
Just one second. The government gave them a tax cut from 30 to 22%. It gave them PLI. So it's not as if that there's tax terrorism and because of which corporates are not investing. They're not investing because there's not enough demand in the economy. That is what needs to be addressed instead of just putting everything on reforms. And you said that everybody here agrees about reform. No, I don't. I think you don't throw the baby with the bathwater. There are many things. For example, on the issues of finance, it's because we had certain regulations that we could come out of the global economic crisis. Every other country faced it, we didn't. And those regulations are important. You cannot say all regulations are wrong. You may have an opinion on certain, but it's not as if everything is wrong there.
All right.
Compliances.
Let's get the economics right. If you want to say something about the economy,
I need to come back to you on which part of the economy of the polity do you represent? The industrialist side, the Garib Admi side.
Why is industrialist a bad word? Why is it always?
I don't know.
We have to create.
Ask Rahul Gandhi.
It's not Rahul Gandhi. It's even the government. It's even the left. It's everybody. Look at how the ED's gone behind industrialists. Yesterday, an industrialist committed suicide in Karnataka. There is tax terrorism in our country. There is GST extortion in our country. Please accept this.
Okay, Anand, are we painting a picture only from one side without taking facts into account?
No, I think a lot of what my good friend Mr. Azad is saying is right, but can I slightly disagree with Mr. GVL Rao when he says that Kerala is the only place where the left is. I think there are two other places, JNU and the media. You have, but when Vivek says that we don't need more reforms, I think as I said, I mean, of course he is batting for his country, but if I'm batting for my country, India,
which country?
I'd leave that to him. But there are three things. Let's be honest about it. Even the labor, they are not reform, they're restructuring. And the restructuring, as far as the labor restructuring that has happened recently, it's a good thing, it's from the point of view of the employee. What India needs are labor reforms from the point of view of the employer. Now, unless that happens, I'm afraid, now, one second, can I just finish? The point of the matter is, unless you unshackle the private sector, you are not going to get anywhere. You've now opened the market, the world markets for India.
Yeah, that doesn't mean
28%. So, Vivek, 1 second. Vivek, what is agitating you? What is agitating you?
No. I mean, come on. ये क्या बात क्या कर रहे हैं?
Now,
It's a गरीब मुल्क है. It's a poor country. And the labor class
it's a poor country because of you.
We need a government control. We need government intervention.
There are two things.
Less government control.
There are two things that we need immediately. One, we need to, as completely opposite of what Vivek is saying, we need to get rid of MSP. Get rid of MSP. And number two, we need to get rid of government owning any corporates. So, as what Narendra Modi said in 2013, repeated in 2019 and 21, a government has no business to be in business. Bas ye do cheeze kar do. Mera vote.
Gurshan.
I think what these gentlemen are trying to get at, the tax terrorism that he talked about, is really an original sin that we committed. In 1991, we did the reforms, but we did not do the administrative reforms that other countries did at the same time. In other words, in China, they changed the incentive system of the bureaucracy, where a bureaucrat in India is a colonial bureaucracy, it wins brownie points for saying no. In China, he is judged for the investment that he brings in at the local level.
Yes. I'm all for targets being given to all bureaucrats in terms of incentives. Jaggi, you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, see, I think whether you want to use the word tax terrorism or not, the obsession that government must collect more taxes needs to be given up. Secondly, I think our problem is from 1991.
So where did freebies come from?
No, just 1 sec. We reformed capital, we did not reform labor, land, agri, nothing. So what do you think? You will have jobs when you don't reform the other things. You only reform capital. Obviously, I'll borrow capital instead of hiring labor.
All right,
so how
but
would I
reforms, I agree with you, but if you do not collect taxes, how do you run the kind of infrastructure programs that you are running? The kind of freebies that you want to increase,
we are collecting more taxes.
Yeah, so then they've been at it to collect more.
But you've had the highest number of HNIs leaving India apart from England. Why? Because of this GST extortion and tax terrorism. You need to celebrate. HNIs need to be in India. Today, ma'am, tell me you buy a 100 crore flat in Gurugram. If God forbid you meet with an accident outside, you won't get an ambulance and go to a government hospital. What am I paying 48% tax, 30% income tax, 18% GST for? If I don't get a good quality of life, I don't get a
I know. Monica Hallan coming in.
It is my right to demand it.
All right. I have some breaking news also coming in. Breaking news coming in at this moment. It's 8:46 a.m. We're about 2 hours and 15 minutes from the beginning of the budget presentation, and sources are telling us that the government is contemplating introduction of a joint tax filing system for married couples, a move aimed at reducing the overall tax burden on middle class households. Any details, Hina?
Well, this is a new idea. This is what the taxpayer body has proposed. Remember, government seeks proposals from everybody. So they've been pushing really hard that the government should allow joint taxation for couples, given the 12 lakh bonanza we got. Because now CAs feel that if you allow husband and wife to collectively file income tax returns, so their outgo in terms of tax is going to be lower. That's the only little argument.
Monica Hallan.
I have a little bit of a wild idea on this. Is it a precursor to a uniform civil code? Because when they finally bring that out, something called the HUF will go away, the Hindu undivided family, which is a tax break too. And this has been a real problem with certain groups. My sense is they're probably doing this as a chess move to then bring about that UCC later in the year. But you know, other than nudging people to get married.
In the budget, are we going to see the element of big, bold political reform on UCC, Madhav?
I just want to, UCC of course is something that's on the anvil. We've seen it implementation in various states, including Uttarakhand. But what this could possibly do is what we were discussing earlier. Without actually changing the tax slabs, if there's higher disposable income with middle class families, that's something that's surely going to go down very well with the public of this country if that does happen. At the moment, we are learning that this is a proposal. But if that does happen, how much of this will actually bring in more cash into the pockets of middle class families is certainly going to be a very, very big question. And also, Does it bring into the ambit the possibility of any kind of otherwise evasion that we may have seen? Because it's often family members where a lot of tax evasion happens. So from the government's tax collection perspective also, what is the impact it will have? We don't know. But certainly if this does happen, it's going to be one of the most talked about proposals in this budget.
Well, Anand Ranganathan, tax terrorism. Very brief. अब मैं कुछ बोलूँगा तो बोलेंगे कि बोलता है. The UCC बोलता तो है. हाँ बोलता तो है. बोलता तो है. वो तो बोलना पड़ेगा. Deficit में. There is only one person I know who owns a 100 crore flat in Gurgaon and he's Tehsin's relative. But you know, coming to UCC, you're talking about which relative? The one. Him to say the name. Yeah. Why are you saying names today? Why are you so coy this morning? Why are you so coy? You're not naming Vivek Srivastava's country. You're not naming his relative. What is your problem this morning? Coffee nahi mili hai kya? I think yeah. No, but just as a nitpicking, the UCC, the entire thing is a sham. It's not a uniform civil code anymore. Even in Uttarakhand, they have excluded the ST community from it, so it's not uniform. And if that comes out, they will exclude more and more communities. So I think, yes, a budget might give a political message, but right now it needs to give a finance and economic message. And that is, let us unshackle you. Tax terrorism. Do you agree with
can I just
and yes,
yeah, no,
yes,
so
there is
the
tax
terrorism part. So there is, yes, there is a problem of corruption where the tax is collected. Okay, it's not just restricted to the government. The private sector is complicit because the lawyers and the CAs have been part of the feeding chain. So there is a whole culture of corruption, unfortunately, in this country, which is very deep-rooted. So it is the lawyers and the CAs in the large corporates and medium corporates who have been part of this whole graft. So it's not just the government. The ball is also definitely with the private sector as well.
It's a problem that has its roots deep down into our society, if you may want to call it that, the social habits that are existing. To weed this out, do we need participation from citizens as well? Well, that we are talking about a reform at a large scale. I need to take a short break. I'll take that short break and come back right to Mr. Gursharan Das and Rohit Azad.
She asks tough questions like no other journalist.
Rupee volatility driven by global markets, domestic mismanagement or tax? Global. Domestic mismanagement to ho nahi sakti, you'll never confess. It was supposed to be one nation, one tax. It became something like one nation, 9 taxes.
She takes on the masters of Indian politics like no one else can.
Why does the Congress party live in denial of this? That this was done on religious lines and then killing them. Biggest difference working in the UPA government and the NDA government.
Because she speaks for you the way no one else can.
Are you saying Jeffrey Epstein was murdered?
Because your voice must be heard, your questions answered, above all else. Frankly Speaking with Navika Kumar.
the thrill begin.
The all-new Hyundai Venue. Bookings open. The truth.
Morarji Desai has presented the maximum number of budgets so far. He has presented 10 budgets in his political career. While Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister from 1970 to 1971, she also held the finance portfolio. यूनानो मिस्र रोमा सब मिट गए जहां से, अब तक मगर है बाकी।
Let the thrill begin.
The all-new Hyundai Venue. Bookings open.
Now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The countdown has begun. Just 2 hours now, 120 minutes, and Nirmala Sitharaman, Finance Minister, is expected to come out of Kartavya Bhavan any moment now, with her team flanking her to leave for Rashtrapati Bhavan. We're looking at for Bharat and what it has in store with this budget. For Bharat to become Viksit and self-reliant, India needs to turn Swadeshi. That's been something that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been talking about and emphasizing on. And a little hint came when on Mahatma Gandhi's death anniversary on Friday, he made this point. He gave the hint that Swadeshi was the way to go forward. Atmanirbharta has been a very big cornerstone of this government. Will the world buy Indian without thinking, instead of thinking about, just going global? Should we actually be looking inwards? That is what we're looking at. And Hina, there are some specifics. Custom duty rollback, 7% uniform rate across imports. That's something that has been talked of. What do you think the finance minister could do to give a leg up to Atmanirbharta?
Well, it's very clear that our focus this time is going to be to ensure India becomes self-reliant. A self-reliant India is something that's a big hope for the world. This is what the Prime Minister has also said during the signing of FTA with EU. Now, Arvind Panagria, a very well-known economist, in fact, he has written an article. He has spoken about 6 reforms and he specifically said, ye dil mange more. 2025, we saw a lot of reforms. He said 2026, ye dil mange more. He has said 7% uniform rate should be there across all imports. I don't know if that's possible or not. He has said you should roll back the custom duties. He says that India should conclude the India-US trade deal as soon as possible. I agree with him.
It's just that if he can help convince President Donald Trump, this will move very fast.
But in the Eco Survey, the chief economic advisor...
Yeah, and he's a professor at Columbia, so maybe, just walk across and tell somebody there.
He doesn't have a good image right now with
the
President.
Finance Commission, now he's the Finance Commission chief. By the way, Eco Survey, ma'am, has made it very clear that by the end of this year, we could see the trade deal getting concluded. So we have got a timeline coming in from the government. Then third reform, Panagria sir has mentioned, is that don't overvalue the rupee. Very important point, because opposition has been talking about how India is a dead economy by quoting how rupee has been on a free fall mode. Mr. Panagria has said that do not really keep an eye on our exports. That's very, very important. We need to be an export-driven economy. Withdraw all quality control orders. Now, if something to this extent is announced by the finance minister, it will be very important for exporters. This is very, very significant. Lastly, they have said clip wings of Directorate General of Trade Remedies. Essentially, focus on trade.
Absolutely. And Madhav, in times, I also am looking at the macroeconomic goals of the government. In times, in the year that we've had Operation Sindoor, I'm sure defense is top on the budget.
Absolutely. Defense spending, of course, is expected to increase. Defense manufacturing has drastically increased. We've increased our indigenization to a large extent. Our exports have gone up over the last decade. So there's a lot that has happened as far as the defense aspect is concerned. Just look at the numbers as far as defense spending is concerned. 6.81 lakh crores, 9.53% is, of course, higher than 2024-25 is, of course, what we're looking at. 13.45% of the union budget. The highest, in fact, is what we are looking at as far as the defense spending is concerned. So this is, of course, going to be a huge area. We're looking at perhaps more procurement as well, not just in terms of our indigenization, but as far as our foreign procurement of arms as well. And, of course, in these extremely troubled times, we're looking at Russia, Ukraine. We're looking at what's happening in relation to...
10% increase in defense outlays is what we are expecting. Is that a step in the right direction, you would think, Jaggi?
Absolutely. I think we need to raise defense to about from 2 to 2.5%. We are under 2% right now. So for that, 9 and 10% is not going to cut, is not enough. You have to move at least 15 to 20% this year for the next 5 years. And unless you do that, you're not going to be able to defend yourself in a very unsecure global environment where you have two enemies.
I know, where presidents get kidnapped in the dead of night.
I just want to add something. I think it's a good thing now, because we wouldn't be spending a lot of our precious foreign exchange in this, because in the last 30 years, if one positive thing has happened in the defense sector, it is that our defense procurement is now increasingly more indigenous. While 70% of what our equipment we used to procure in 1990 was foreign made, now it is exact opposite. Yeah. So, if we increase our defense budget, we'll be actually giving more money to the Indian companies to buy stuff from them.
Exports will go up, which means we'll have more foreign currency. And exports and defense is one thing that I do appreciate. though I'm an opposition, I do appreciate this. But also we'll have to spend in more money on R&D in defense, because combat will now not be face-to-face. It'll all be technologically driven, AI-driven. So we'll have to spend in more in research and defense and give incentives for that.
Tessie, not just in defense. If you, there's something very interesting I'd like to bring about here. Now, India spends 0.69% of its GDP on R&D, which is the lowest amongst BRICS, one of the lowest in the world. If you look at South Korea or America, it's 6% of the GDP. But the difference is the Indian government spends as much percentage of GDP as the American government. It's just that the private sector makes up for the rest in America and South Korea. So our private sector has to come up and start spending money on R&D.
And therefore that tax benefits there. Yes, sir.
Why is the private sector...
All right, those are visuals coming from Kartavya Bhavan, where Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is coming out. I think that is a Pune weave sari. Monica, if I can pick your...
Last year was Madhubani.
Yes, but this
Anand
year
knows more about saris than I do.
No, it's a Kanjivaram. Well, it's a Kanjivaram, and there it is. Tamil Nadu elections have been announced. It's a Kanjivaram sari that Nirmala Sitharaman is wearing. Well, last year was Madhubani. I'm looking at every single hint.
in West Bengal than Tamil Nadu. Why don't they?
Well, Dhaka. Sitharaman ji is...
No, Dhaka is not allowed.
No. Tamil Nadu is on the agenda, and she's wearing a Kanjivaram sari, a nice earthy reddish maroon one. And look at the team of all her secretaries, expenditure, revenue, also financial services and banking secretaries flanking her. The tablet, which is gone sleek and small. The Bahi Khata is inside it. And joining me this morning is Shehzad Poonawala joining the broadcast. And Shehzad, is the indication right there in front of us? Tamil Nadu is what is going to be the flavor of this budget, Shehzad, with the finance minister making it very clear. Last year was a Madhubani sari when Bihar elections were around the corner. I'm looking at hints, all of us are. What do you think this budget is going to make a point about, Shehzad?
Navika, if you want a bigger hint, then look at the building that she has gone into before presenting the budget. It's an Atmanirbhar Bharat building. It's no longer North Block. It's now in Kartavya Bhavan. So her 9th budget is the first budget which is being given in a way, symbolically, if you are going into the symbolism. See, what Madam Finance Minister wears is entirely her choice. I am nobody, and especially as a man, to patronize or sermonize or weigh in on that. But let me tell you what are the big hints that you can take. From 11th position, Nirmala Sitharaman ji has piloted this economy into the 4th position, and we are going into 3rd position. We are having a historic low inflation rate. We are having historic high foreign exchange reserves. We are having historic high profitability of banks. And in this particular climate, and we are also having a very high consumption. If you see the data, private consumption is at a high now. So this way she has navigated the economy, and she has taken the reforms expressed forward. The GST reform, GST 2.0, simplifying business, direct tax reform, ज़्यादा पैसा आपके हाथों में 12 लाख रुपए तक no tax. Then after that, the digital infrastructure reform, spending on capital expenditure, physical infrastructure reform, and now you will see that this reform express will be taken forward. Why, Navika? Because you have studied economics. Ironically, you have also done it from Pune, my city. You would know that we are living in globally uncertain times, which means that even if we have very good macroeconomic factors, it does not mean macroeconomic rewards. And therefore, in this era of tariffs being weaponized, in this era of fragmented supply chains, we need to diversify our markets. We need to make our brands so competitive that they can fight and compete against the best brands in the world. And therefore, we need to go from regulation to enabling environment. And that's what you will see, that the reforms
we all agree that regulation has to make way. Regulation has to make way for putting Indian brands out there. But who's stopping you, Shehzad Poonawala? You've had 11.5 years to do so. Not too many regulations have been disbanded. But coming back to the politics of things, Monojit Mandal also joining this broadcast, as is Sanjay Jha, also welcoming Vaishali Nigam Sinha, co-founder and chairperson of Sustainability in Renew, and joining the broadcast is Amrish Baliga, market expert. First, let me come to you, Monojit Mandal. In Bengal, where elections are expected to be held in just about maybe 60 days from now, any time after that, what are you looking at the budget for? Do you think you're ready to support a budget that takes India forward, does away with regulations, and helps investments in this country?
Very good morning to all of you and to my co-panelists. Look, we are not very hopeful about the budget. We know that elections are happening in 5 states. There could be some, election gimmick as far as the budget is concerned. But if you look at the overall scenario of Indian economy for this last 1 year at least, it's been seen that Trump tariff war has taken place. Indian economy is going down and down, further down, especially in the last 6 months. And that is suggested in the market itself. Look at the volatility of the market for the last 6-7 months. I mean,
interrupting you for a second, because those are visuals of the finance minister, her cavalcade with her officials, all moving to Rashtrapati Bhavan for the conventional cup of tea, and I think it is dahi gud that the president fed her last time as a best of luck message, a traditional conventional message. Priyank Tripathi joining me from Vijay Chowk. Priyank.
See, Navika, this is for the first time this route has been taken by Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister, who's going to be presenting the budget for the 9th time. And earlier, what we used to see that this north block from where she used to leave, it was barely 30 seconds of time period when she used to reach the Rashtrapati Bhavan. But now, since we have been telling to our viewers that the location has changed, this is the new route which is being taken. But there are many things which is expected that the finance budget for the defense is going to be one of the key factor, because the kind of 80,000 crore allocation which is expected to be there in defense is going to be important factor. Plus those non-communicable diseases also has been given very clear indication by the government of India. Like they have spoken about obesity, Prime Minister has already spoken. Then those diseases like heart attack risk and other things are already a big concern for the society. Railway is certainly going to be a focus, although new projects are not certainly something which can be seen coming up. But like Kavach 4, which is there for the protection of the railway security and other things, modification basically is certainly something which is going to be the key factor. From here, the FM along with the other cabinet members will be moving out from the Rashtrapati Bhavan approximately around half an hour after that. And from there, she will take the same route, come down, and then here on my right hand side is the Parliament House, where she will be going and where the budget will be presented at 11 a.m. today.
Well, Priyank, thank you very much for that update. But Monojit Mandal has absolutely no expectations, and he says the economy is going down. Which part of the economy is going down, Monica Hallan?
Navika, when politics curdles your brain, you don't look at data. And I will just read out US growth for this year 4%, China 5%, Germany 0.2%, Japan 1.1%, India 7.4%. In which world has the economy done badly? I simply don't understand.
In which world has the economy done badly, Monojit Mandal? The numbers, the data does not support the proposition you're putting out.
Amazing. Look at the rate of employment in the last 5-6 years. Look at the price rise in the last 5-6 years.
Okay, let's look at the data. Give me a minute.
I love the ingenuity of politicians. Shehzad Poonawala, when they talk of growth, we give them the growth numbers, then they talk of unemployment. So clearly shifting of goalposts?
No, let me No. Even if he wants to come on unemployment, employment, by the way, the PLFS data, the WPR data, the labor force data, the RBI claims report, the SBI report, all indicate to robust employment being generated. Let me give you an anecdotal example. There were 400 startups. Today there are 2 lakh plus startups. Who do you think it's employing? Obviously not Monojit Da, but the youth of this country are getting employed. Secondly, the economy is dead is the narrative of the Nawabs of negativity. We have the highest growth rate. IMF has testified it. We are seeing report after report how we are reaching 8% growth rate. We have the lowest NPAs, the lowest inflation rate. Last month it was less than 2% inflation rate, consumer price index. But having said that, Navika, can I give you a formula today? One formula, simple formula. See, today you have said about Sari of Nirmala ji. It's reflecting the boost that we are giving to textiles, even in the Indo-EU FTA. That is also there and evident. Maybe she's symbolizing that. But today's budget will be Gita budget. Now, Navika, some people will get upset. Gita क्या है? G for growth, I for infrastructure, T for technology, A for आत्मनिर्भर भारत. ये गीता बजट होने वाला है. अब देखो गीता सुन के विवेक श्रीवास्तव एक्सप्लोड हो जाएंगे. विवेक एक्सप्लोड ना हो जाए.
Vivek Srivastava, you have a problem with the Gita budget? You're on mute. I didn't put you on mute. You've done it to yourself.
More from Shahzad. I expect more from Shahzad. Very learned guy, qualified, law का पूरा knowledge रखते हैं या गीता बजट कर रहे हो. Healthcare पे बात करो ना. And if you say that you're comparing the figures with
गीता से एलर्जी क्यों है?
नहीं गीता से एलर्जी क्या? हर चीज में कभी जी राम जी विकसित भारत ग्राम जी का आप फैक्ट्स एंड फिगर्स तो देखो. यू डोंट कवर अप सो मेनी पीपल हु डिजर्व इट और फिर आप उसमें राम का नाम हर चीज में घुसा देते हो. हर चीज में रिलीजन का कार्ड खेलना.
कमाल है. राम के नाम से दिक्कत है, गीता के नाम से दिक्कत है. क्या प्रॉब्लम है? Sanjay Jha, before I come to you, the markets have opened in the green. Let me go across to Amrish Baliga joining us this morning. Amrish Baliga, what are the markets expecting this morning from the Union Finance budget? On a Sunday, markets are open. Well, strange things don't cease happening in this country. What are your expectations?
See, first of all, if you look at the revenue receipts, they have been lower than budgeted. So I think it would be a very tightrope walk for the finance minister. And I doubt whether there will be any major change in personal taxation, which people are expecting, since I think the major change had happened last year. So, this year there will be no major change. The change which I expect clearly is the capital gains exemption limit, which is 1 lakh to be raised to about 2 lakhs. There could be some sort of a tax exemption limit for fixed deposits. I think that's been a demand for a long time. That's quite low at 10,000. I think that would be increased. From a market perspective, securities transaction tax, that could be reduced because when it was introduced, we didn't have any capital gains tax, long-term capital gains tax. That was zero. Now capital gains tax has increased. So I think at some point of time, SCT has to be reduced. And I think this year that could happen. And I think one of the major issues which the market is suffering is FIS selling. And FIS started selling when their taxation was tweaked. So I think this year we could see some sort of a reduction in taxation for FIS to make it attractive for them to again come back and reinvest in India. And my personal issue, as far as the budget is concerned, is dividend taxation. I think that is double taxation. The company is paying a tax, then again the recipient is paying a tax. So somewhere I think the finance minister has to look at removal or reduction of taxation on dividends.
Well, I absolutely agree with everything you're saying, and I'll add a few wish lists of our own. Personal taxes way too high for the small base that actually pays taxes. The base has increased, has expanded, hasn't expanded as much to be able to bring down the overall tax rates. So I think viewers watching this broadcast clearly dil mange more. Yes, some tax breaks were given last year, but a little more doesn't hurt anybody. Also joining me, Vaishali Nigam Sinha. Vaishali, what are your expectations from the point of view of India Inc., corporate India? What are you looking at? Most people say India is an over-regulated market. Do you think a budget is the place where these reforms will be kick-started, or do you think these issues are best tackled outside the budget?
Yeah, hi Navika. So it's great to be here on your show. And, from saris to Geeta, I want to add my healthy sandwich bit here. I think what I'd like to see the finance minister do, first of all, I want to say it's really exciting for women, young women, to see the finance minister present the budget for the 9th time. And it really has an impact. That's great. I also want to say I'm just back from Davos, where the world gathered. And, we saw disappearing multilateralism, moving towards diversification. And you know what? India was at the heart of it all. So whatever we say, India is there. Atmanirbharta is because of the people of India. And I really do hope we can see a lot more in the budget for, around skilling, etc., because the world is coming to India because of its people, because of India being one of the fastest growing economies. And actually, I am from the renewable energy sector, and I want to say we've been the fastest growing renewable energy play in the world. So that counts for a lot, and renewable energy forms the base of the biggest thing which we are seeing, listening around the world, and that is AI infrastructure. So I do hope that in this budget, we do lay down a framework. I mean, just like a test match, slightly longer term. I think we reset every 5 years. I want to see the framework for AI, which also encourages our sector, RE. And then I also want to see us continuing what we've been doing, because honestly, the budgets are budgets, they come and go. But what's really been good is the reform. Right. And what I'd like to see is a healthy sandwich being offered by the finance minister, one which has more reform, which has less subsidies and has more restraint, fiscal restraint. I'm hoping that will make for a good base.
Well, that's a lot you're asking for, but we're getting in breaking news, a key update for the salaried class. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, viewers. Top sources telling Times now that major changes should not be expected in the upcoming tax framework. According to our sources, the scope for tax rate tweaks remain limited. Hina, what does that mean? That 12 lakh exemption, that's it. 12 lakhs is where it will stay, and nothing for us, even though it's a Sunday, nice day that we are doing the budget coverage on.
Abhi itna intezar karke 12 lakh mila. Now wait for some more years. And Monica
2029 election time.
Exactly. Monica Hallan has already said LTCG, should not really be reduced. So wahan par bhi koi relief nahi aane wala. Unfortunately.
But I'm listening to Amrish Baliga.
But
because he said it should be there.
And always mange more.
He said STT should be removed, which is right. And basically, they should not increase. I'm saying please don't increase the long-term capital gain, because the banks are pressurizing for that. So we are hoping that it doesn't get worse.
But salary class actually wants LTCG to go down because they feel hum thoda bahut kama rahe market se, usme bhi you are taxing.
And it's a risk asset. Like, please reward me for taking risk. You wanted financialization, we are doing it.
I know. Yeah. I know. Nobody is looking at the middle classes and there. And middle class is no longer the favorite class of the government.
Middle class. I'm sorry.
What
you are like upper.
Bourgeoisie, petty bourgeoisie, like Vivek Srivastava.
We have not struck a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. We are a class that has worked hard and worked for 36 years to get where we had. So come on, don't tax us towards the end. And we don't have any pension, safety nets. We don't have any healthcare safety nets. So
I think one thing that citizens are looking for right now, look, the economy is in very good shape. You can say it's in great shape. Monica has the numbers. We can say the truth, wheat from the chaff has to be separated. Talk about facts. But citizens also expect a degree of frankness from the government, which I'm afraid even the economic survey sometimes does not give the true picture. For example, everyone's talking about how the public sector banking system has been reformed. The fact is, since 2014, the written off NPAs of public sector banks amount to about 13 lakh crores. How much of it has been recovered? 12%. What about the rest? That is our money. So everyone's going gaga over, look how the NPA system has been reformed, and the 10 lakh crores is not with the Indian people. Who's going to get that back? And, you know, we can't harp about, yes, there were reasons why the NPAs increased. Of course, the previous dispensation had to blame. But let's be frank about how much reform we have had. That's all I want.
Well, then you are somebody who will echo what Sanjay Jha will probably have to say. Sanjay Jha saw red the minute the word Gita was mentioned. Sanjay Jha, what's your problem with the Gita? And I know your problem with Shehzad Poonawalla, but Gita se kya problem hai?
Navika, good evening. I think good morning rather. But I believe it's evening and sunset for the Indian economy overall, and it's pretty evident. But let me go down and make 4 points based on what I've heard on your program right now. Number one, my friend Poonawalla talked about the IMF, and I need to tell the viewers of your program that the IMF has scored India's statistical data in national and GDP accounts as suspect. It calls it C grade. And I think it's a national embarrassment for India, calling itself a big economy, to be ridiculed worldwide by investors and analysts and countries as having a data that cannot be trusted. My point number two, I would appreciate I'm not interrupted and making 4 quick points. You have some lady economist on your program who had the audacity to say, or rather I would call the cheekiness to say, that India is growing at 7% compared to America at 5% and China at 5%. And
which
and
lady are you referring to? There is some lady economist, some lady anchor, some lady finance minister. Specify the lady.
You interrupted
and if you don't know the names, then you're extremely ignorant. I would have expected better from you.
Yeah. But then, you know, I expected you to not interrupt me, Navika. I think her name is
but
Madam
I
Halan.
can't help it when you
Halan,
provoke me so much.
I've answered you. Now do not interrupt me till I finish. Navika, in the fairness of a debate, let's not be interrupted. I've hardly spoken. She talked about India at 7, China at 5, and India at 4, and said we are the fastest growing economy. To the viewers of this program, China's GDP is over 20 trillion. America is closing it at nearly 30. And she's comparing their growth rates with an economy at 4 trillion at 7%. I mean, this is the kind of bizarre, ridiculous nonsense that we should not be discussing on the day of the budget. Point number three. You can't
go on for point number 3 and 4 till the first 2 are resolved. 1 minute, one at a time. I just don't like the tone and tenor of Sanjay Jha, and I deeply have a problem with this. The manner in which he called out the lady economist, almost as if ladies don't have the right to be economists and you are a better economist than anybody else. Your tone, Sanjay Jha, for the first time in my life, I've had a problem with your tone. I don't know if it was a Saturday night hangover coming on to Sunday morning, because morning mein agar aapko raat dikh rahi hai that there is a problem, either you are in the United States of America and that part of the world, or you don't see any of the realities of India. But Monica Halan, the floor is yours to respond to Mr. Sanjay Jha in the manner that you deem fit. Please.
For a 4 trillion economy to get to 20 trillion, we do need a rate of growth. And if that rate of growth is 7.4, hopefully increasing over the years, that's the road that we will take. Now, to expect an economy to grow at 10 and overheat, like what happened in UPA 1, would be extremely dangerous. So the calibration is to keep the growth rate so that we don't implode. We don't have a problem the way that we had of very high inflation in that period. So it's just that. So are we going to argue that we should immediately go from being a poor country to a rich country? Or do sensible people see a pathway which goes through middle-income India? I would see a pathway which goes through middle-income India, and this leap is very dangerous. You can also crash and fall, like what we saw with the economy overheating in UPA 1.
Well, yes, but they don't have any memory of what happened to the economy in UPA 1. All their expectations are from Modi 1, 2 and 3. And Anand Ranganathan.
Fair enough. But to Sanjay's point, you know, this is the problem. It's just commonsensical. It is a like-for-like comparison. Now, whatever the IMF might have said as to what the Indian numbers are, they were the same last year as well. When you're talking of rate of growth, The numbers don't matter. And secondly, I want to ask Sanjay, do you believe the Chinese GDP numbers?
Okay, Anand, let me answer your question very quickly, okay? I got interrupted. I was expecting that. Obviously, I'm not surprised by that at all. But there is another, I don't know everybody. So, Navika, stop imposing on me the liability of knowing everybody's name. I'm probably getting
If you
MBCR.
don't know Monica Hallan, if you don't know Monica Hallan, Sanjay Jha, seriously, some introspection is in order. Some introspection is in order.
Madam, it's your introspection you need to worry about, because for the third time, despite 4 requests, you're interrupting me. So here is the point.
I am, because today you're being unbearable, which is not normally the case. Sorry, Sanjay Jha, you're prickly this morning.
Numbers don't lie, Navika. This is not rhetoric. So here is my answer to somebody who mentioned that subsidies need to be cut, and she has just returned from Davos. So let me ask her a question. Does she have any comment on the fact that today India has 1% people owning 40% of its wealth? And where did the 1,50,000 crore tax rebate given to the corporate sector in 2019 for private investment and jobs, where is it gone? You think
all right, we'll get you answers to that. Vaishali, not on the show anymore. Shehzad will respond to you, but those are visuals coming from Rashtrapati Bhavan. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman with another lady secretary next to her. Sanjay Jha, please take a note. And all her other secretaries joining her. And that is Pankaj Chaudhary, the Minister of State for Finance, awaiting the arrival of Rashtrapati Draupadi Murmu ji. And to her will be presented the first copy of the budget. But Shehzad Poonawalla, the 1% that owns 40% of the wealth actually includes Sanjay Jha. Do you think he should give up his wealth first, Shehzad Poonawalla?
Navika, first of all, what I just witnessed, and since Tehseen and I have been raised by single mother, I think it is called mansplaining, where you look down upon the competence of a woman merely because she is a woman. So she cannot be economist. She can't be president. In fact, President of India will be the one receiving Nirmala ji very soon. So we have a president who's a woman. We have an editor-in-chief of this channel who's a woman. We have a very reputed economist in Monica Hallan. And we also have a finance minister who's a woman. And this is the power of Nari Shakti, which Sanjay Jha has been looking down upon. Having said that, Sanjay Jha would forget that the Gini coefficient by which you measure the distance between haves and have-nots has actually tremendously increased and improved in the last 10-11 years. It is not that 1% has been having a majority of the resources right from 2014 onwards. This has been the case. This skewed development has been the gift of Congress party. But in fact, Mr. Anand Ranganathan is there and he will quote you the Gini coefficient number as to how it has improved in the last 11 years. But having said that, let me address 2 points, Navika. Small difference of opinion with you. You said कि देखो 12 लाख का दे दिया लास्ट ईयर, अब मिडिल क्लास को कुछ नहीं मिला. नाविका जी, अभी तो जीएसटी 2.0 में हमने 95% आइटम्स के प्राइसेस रिड्यूस करवाए हैं. अभी तो हमने फ्री हेल्थ केयर 50 करोड़ पीपल को मिलता है, प्लस जन औषधि केंद्र में 90% डिस्काउंट में दवाइयां मिलती है. दैट इज ऑल्सो फॉर द कॉमन मैन. अभी नाविका जी हमने देखा ब्रॉडबैंड जो 1 GB 350 रुपए का आता था, दैट कम्स फॉर 10 रुपीज, विच मीन्स इट्स अ सेविंग ऑफ ऑलमोस्ट 30,000 to 40,000 रुपीज पर हाउस होल्ड फॉर द 150 GB ऑफ डेटा. अभी तो हमने देखा है कि लोएस्ट इन्फ्लेशन रेट है ऑफ अबाउट 1 or 2%, विच मींस दैट ग्रोथ हो रहा था, आपकी इनकम बढ़ रही थी पर इन्फ्लेशन खा रहा था, पर अब वो आपकी जेब में जा रहा है. नाविका जी, आज हमने 25 करोड़ लोगों को गरीबी से निकाला है. नाविका जी, और संजय झा को सिर्फ एक ही चीज कह सकता हूं, ही रोल्स अराउंड विद द गैंग.
There is no law last I saw which prevents us to hope for more, Shehzad Poonawalla, and you can't take the hope away from middle class India. Call it middle class, upper middle class, lower middle class, but the middle class has the right to hope for more. If the opposition doesn't have hopes, that's not my liability. But let me get in Ram Pratap Singh ji. Ram Pratap Singh ji, you know, somewhere or the other, I see a very, very stark comparison. बीजेपी को कुछ गलत नजर ही नहीं आता और आपको कुछ सही नजर ही नहीं आता in the economy. Obviously, the truth is somewhere in between. How do you see the economy currently poised, and what are your expectations from this budget?
Good morning, Navika. You're very right. there is a very buoyant mood about how the Indian economy is growing at a very healthy rate. But my only contention is, as you rightly said, the story is somewhere in between. This growth is not across sectors, and there are many Indias that we inhabit. And the top 1 or top 10% that we've been talking about is actually taking away most of the benefit of this India growth story. Whereas at the bottom end, people are, there are estimates that 25 crore people have come out of the poverty discourse. But there is some numbers which I would like to quote here. There is something known as NEET, not in employment, education and training. And unfortunately, 32.9% of our youth between 15 and 29 years of age are in NEET. We are talking about gender equality. 59.5% of the women are in NEET. So if they are not employed or educated or trained, how do we see the growth story reaching to them? That's where what I expect from this budget, that the focus has to be of investment in the rural infrastructure and the rural domain, which has not been happening. Last 7, 8, 10 budgets, I have expected that there'll be a substantial infrastructural investment in the rural sector, where the new growth story for India, the reforms 2.0 or 3.0, is actually about rural India. And that's where I think the budget should be headed.
Well said, Ram Pratap ji, but Rohit Azad.
I think first I would say that I take strong exception to the way Sanjay Jha has mentioned, and this is a very sexist response to what should have been about substance.
Right.
At the same time, on certain issues, I think the facts need to be on the table. Why has the IMF said, has given a C grade? We need to understand that there's an economics behind it, and the logic is very simple. India's GDP calculation currently is based on single deflation, which essentially, if you give me 2 minutes, I can explain. So what you do is you find out the real output and you subtract the real input from it, which is what gives you the GVA of any sector. Now, if you do not count the two differently, which is what it should be, let's say that the input, the prices have been negative, then you would actually think that it is an increase in profit, but it is not really an increase in profit. There is a difference between prices of output and a difference between prices of input. If you do not correct for that, which is what India is going to actually, now in the new series, that correction is going to happen. And in all likelihood, the number of 7.4 is going to come down. So that's the reality. That's the reason why it has been given.
But do you agree that it's a rate of growth?
Just 1 second. So the rate of growth is going to come down. The volume of GDP is going to go up. So there's logic to that. It's not, just like that it has been said. So it's an important point. I think that is not to say that growth has not happened. I mean, that would be wrong, factually incorrect. But unless the growth reaches to the people of this country, you may actually get a K-shaped growth, which is the reality. If you look at bicycles, if you look at motorcycles, if you look at small cars, the growth has not really taken place in that sector. There has been growth, but the growth has been at the top end. And one last point I would like to make, comparing it what happened with the UPA and high rate of growth, now you can't have the cake and eat it too. When there is high growth, you have a problem. It happened in another government, you have a problem. If it happened with this government, you would be happy. Now have a consistent position that high growth is required to become a Viksit Bharat.
Absolutely.
Fair enough. Don't say if 7 is, then it's good. If it was 10, it was bad. That is not a consistent argument to make.
Certainly not. Everybody wants the highest growth, but you have to see the context in which this growth takes place. And Gusharan Das,
I think it's important to be aware of inequality, and we do measure it, but I wish we would also measure opportunity, because it is opportunity that will reduce inequality in the end. And therefore, instead of obsessing with 1% owning so much, let us, instead of just talking Gini coefficients, let us talk about how the job creation is going on, because we have a long way to go. I mean, we are not in nirvana, but are we on the right track? Are we creating? And for that, we've talked about, we need to create an industrial revolution still, etc., etc.
Can I make one point here?
Yes, Monica, absolutely. Every time you want to make a point, I will come straight to you because, you know, the sexist remarks have really, really upset me this morning.
Being a woman in finance, you know, you sort of dismiss
Being a woman anywhere in this country,
but dismiss it more in finance.
You know, because Sanjay Jha is not normally like this, I take offense.
Yeah.
Other people, I don't.
We'll just let it go. No, so all I'm saying is that there is a certain way to measure wealth with households, of which the household gold, what mainly the women wear and own, is excluded. Now, if we were to find a way to include that, those metrics would change hugely because the Indian households own like so much gold, and every woman, that's really her security, her asset. So should we be able to impute a number to that, this inequality debate on the wealth, I think would change a bit.
Well, absolutely, but because you talk of gold, let's go straight across. We have breaking news coming in on the literal crash. No, crash is a bit much, but there has been a dip in the prices of gold and silver. This is not just a dip, it's a massive drop, and I'd like Hina to take us through what is really the extent. We've seen almost a 20 to 30% decrease in gold and silver prices. Reason, and are we going to see a further dip?
You mentioned about the factor T that we need to be careful about. So it's the same T factor that's behind this drop in gold and silver prices. It's US President Donald Trump. There has been a surge as far as US dollar is concerned because reports came out early that Trump administration was preparing to nominate Kevin Warsh for US Fed Reserve Chair. And that is the reason why markets went into a bit of a tizzy, and gold as well as silver both have slumped. Gold prices have slumped more than 12%. They are below $5,000 an ounce, and that's the biggest single day decline that we've seen since 1980s. Many were saying that we are not really going to see a crash, but it has happened.
Well, it's happened, and yes, in India for 10 grams, gold prices are down literally 9,000 rupees per 10 grams, and silver prices down by about 17,000 rupees per kg. And joining me this morning is Mr. Nilesh Shah, MD of Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company and also member of the Prime Minister's Economic Affairs Committee. Mr. Nilesh Shah, how are you looking at the overall sentiment as we go into the budget, the crash in prices of gold and silver? What is the future market likely to be? Where should people be investing, and how are the markets looking at the budget today?
The sentiments vary depending upon whether you are an investor or a speculator. A speculator in precious metal market or F&O trading in equity market is unlikely to be happy. The markets have been fairly volatile, and speculators clearly are losing their money. On the other hand, investors who have followed asset allocation are still winning, and equity markets in particular today are cautiously optimistic. The valuations are high. Delivery has been slightly delayed. For last 6 quarters, our earnings growth has been in single digit. This quarter, it is impacted by labor code as well as rupee depreciation. Next quarter also, it is likely to be impacted by rupee depreciation. However, the long-term outlook still continues to be positive, and which is where we are looking forward to the budget, how it can change the orbit of the economy.
Are you expecting any changes in the long-term capital gain tax or STT? Because many people have been expecting some corrections there.
So the market does have expectations ahead of budget, but that is more of a hope or a prayer rather than real expectation. But one expectation which we have, there are many FPIs like endowment funds, charitable trust, pension funds. They don't pay tax in their own country, and in India they are being taxed. We have provided tax exemption to sovereign funds, to citizens of nations like Singapore, Middle East, Netherlands. can we extend the same exemption to entities which don't pay any tax in their home country? This can create a level playing field for FPIs. You don't pay tax in your country, you don't pay tax in our country. This could bring FPI flows into the market.
Well, we have big breaking news coming in as well. President Trump, has stated, and it's a big claim that is being made on India, having made a deal to buy Venezuelan oil.
Big one. That's a big one. He's speaking on board Air Force One. This is a White House release that has come out on YouTube, and he is very clearly saying that China is welcome to come in and make a great deal on oil. We already have made a deal. India is coming in, and they're going to be buying Venezuelan oil as opposed to buying it from Iran. So we've already made the concept of the deal. We know oil purchases have been a huge sticking point.
Let's listen into President Trump speaking on Air Force One.
Well, we haven't discussed that, but we're getting along very well with the leadership of Venezuela. They're doing a really good job. We're going to be selling a lot of oil, and we'll take some, and they'll take a lot, and they're going to do very well. They're going to make more money than they've ever made, and it's going to be beneficial to us. We're going to really, I think Venezuela is really going to turn around. You know, I opened up the airspace over Venezuela, so that now people from Venezuela came from Venezuela here. They're going to be able to go back for the first time, go back to Venezuela and stay perhaps, or go back and see their relatives, go for a short period of time.
Sir, do you think China's going to get their money back for all the money they lent to Venezuela for
I don't
oil?
know. I don't know anything about that, but I'll tell you what, China is welcome to come in and would make a great deal in oil. You know, we welcome China. We've already made a deal. India's coming in, and they're going to be buying Venezuelan oil.
Well, India's been going to buy Venezuelan oil, and already the Congress is in a twist this morning. Jairam Ramesh extremely worried about why he gets news from Trump and not from India. That's his biggest question. Shahzad Poonawalla, do you want to answer that one? Why does Trump tell us what India should?
Navika, this is, I think, see, at least with somebody as, somebody as experienced as you, I would expect that you would put out that before 2019 sanctions on Venezuelan oil kicked in, India was anyways buying a lot of Venezuelan oil. And India's energy decisions are based on supply, diversification and rates. Now, when these three things align, we will go and buy the energy wherever we find it cheap, wherever we find supply is ensured, and wherever we want to diversify so that we are not dependent on one person or one entity or one country selling it to us. So this is a completely commercial decision. If at all these decisions are going forward, these are taken especially on the basis of only commercial interests of India. For instance, when we bought the Russian oil when the Russian-Ukraine war started, at that time we have saved lakhs and lakhs of crores of rupees, which translated to benefits to the Indian consumers. Now, if the economic decision is based on a market for supply forces, the Russian companies have been sanctioned. So therefore, because of that, it's not possible to buy. We will go to the next best place to buy. So I don't think in Iran
as simple as that. Visuals of Finance Minister reaching Parliament after her visit to the Rashtrapati, and those are visuals of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reaching Parliament. But Sanjay Jha doesn't agree with you. Neither does Vivek Srivastava. Sanjay Jha, what's your objection now?
Navika, there is a simple, I would say, national ethic that we should always subscribe to, not allow our decisions to be unilaterally, globally announced by another leader of another country. From the military ceasefire during Operation Sindoor, down to, being told 70 times by Donald Trump and not being challenged by Mr. Modi. Mr. Modi, as a head-to-head, which is the peer-to-peer conversation, has not once challenged Donald Trump's assertions on military ceasefire. Now, on a critical issue, you are aware of that as far as Iran oil is concerned, even in the past under US pressure, India has backed out. Even on Russian oil, the same back out. So we are demonstrating an extremely weak spineless character here, and this puts India literally like a pushover on the international chessboard of not just diplomatic politics, but including on terms of economic negotiation. It makes us look weak, and that's been my biggest, shall we say, beef about this government. This government cannot
just
and has not demonstrated.
You have several things that are your beef with the government, and on a spiritual note, not on a any other note, वो कहते हैं ना कि सरस्वती कंठ में रहती है. Suddenly आपने disrespect किया एक महिला को, आपके गले में
no, that is your interpretation. That is your interpretation.
Obviously.
I will challenge that on social media today. I will challenge it as a deliberate conspiracy on this show to make me out, singling me out, because I actually debunked a flawed economic argument.
My friend, you did not. My friend, if you had debunked her proposition without calling her that woman economist, you would have gone ahead and done it. You do it routinely every night. I'm sorry, everyone. Tell me, was I wrong in understanding? Was I wrong? Did I actually play mischief with Sanjay Jha's statement? And I want a vote across this panel. Did I play mischief, or were his words out of line? Yes or no? Simple. Words out of line, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, certainly.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. Why do you have to stress woman? You could have just
Go
said
economist.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's how it came through, although he may not have actually intended it.
Well, then we are not responsible for getting into people's minds. We are responsible for what we hear. And Sanjay Jha, the jury here has spoken. Let's not, you want to go on social media and say anything, you're most free. It's a free country. But please do go ahead. But this panel, this studio is absolutely clear what it sounded like. But
fair enough.
Shehzad, respond to the substantive points made by Sanjay Jha on being a spineless government.
See, Navika, you have very senior people like Gurcharanji sitting in the panel, and they will tell you that India's policy of energy purchase has been announced long back, that it is a pragmatic policy. हमको जहां सस्ता मिलेगा, जहां हमारा interest सब होगा, हम वहां से खरीदेंगे. Every spot and commercial purchase is not announced by India. But if somebody like the President of America is going out of his way to offer us the Venezuelan oil, you should in fact see that this is the strength of India. कि भाई इंडिया की ताकत देखो. We said that we will do the trade deal only when our agricultural interests are taken care of. We did not listen about the Russian oil. We have only gone and been governed by the commercial interests, and we are taking the decision based on the national interests of India. And even if in your view that American president is saying it for the Venezuelan oil, so it should be seen that how India has become powerful, that everybody is chasing. Somebody saying mother of oil deals कर दिया, कोई बोल रहा है कि हमारा तेल अभी आप खरीदेंगे. तो मुझे तो लगता है this is a great recognition of India being on the high table. पर संजय झा की दृष्टि एंटी वुमेन एंड एंटी इंडिया, क्या करें?
Well, let's look at some breaking news that's coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Fresh details are now coming in from Mumbai from a firing incident that took place late last night at filmmaker Rohit Shetty's residence. According to police sources, the accused arrived near Rohit Shetty's house on a motorcycle. There was only one shooter involved in the incident. About 4 rounds are expected or understood to have been fired. The accused parked the bike at some distance, then walked towards the tower, opened fire, and then fled the spot immediately. Any arrests being made? Well, we'll go across to Rucha joining us live from Mumbai. Rucha, what is the latest that you can tell us? Has security been beefed up? Has there been absolutely any information on who this accused is, and what was the nature of this attack?
Well, currently the team of Juhu police is here along with the crime branch team, and they are currently recording statements of all those eyewitnesses who were present here when the attack took place, when the firing took place. And even now we are seeing a high deployment of Mumbai police, and currently from auto driver to the guards on gate, they are recording their statements with the crime branch. And what we are learning that one person was responsible for this attack. The man, unidentified man, who was riding a motorcycle, he parked the bike on a short distance and then walked here, fired on the premises and the building of Rohit Shetty, and then immediately he fled away. Now, if we talk about the investigation, more than 100 CCTV footages are being reviewed by the Mumbai police, and there are lots of security cameras, including those which are inside the premises of Rohit Shetty's Shetty Tower, and also all those who were present here on streets are also being questioned, because if we
can see some bullet marks on the walls and on the glass. Can you tell our cameraman to actually show those bullet marks? Yes, that's one. On which floor is the bullet on that glass as we're seeing it from here?
Well, if we look at the wall, the compound wall of the building, one shot can be seen, a mark of bullet can be seen. Another mark is visible on the glass on first floor. The attack was on ground and first floor. Along with that, if we look at some distance below the glass, there's another mark where we can see a white mark on wall. 3 shots are visible where the gun was fired, and more than 3 include actually 5 gunshots were fired, out of which 3 are clearly visible. And fortunately, nobody was in the balcony when the gun was fired. No one is reported injured in this entire incident. But what we are also learning is that Rohit Shetty was very much present in his residence when the attack took place. So we are learning the attack was attempted at 2:30 to 3 a.m. when Rohit Shetty was present inside the building. The family was also here, and
well, that is a rather disturbing development we are getting from Mumbai in Juhu, where police still investigating. 5 rounds being fired at Rohit Shetty filmmaker's residence, and very clear bullet marks being seen on the balcony on the first floor, on the boundary walls. Still awaiting the first arrest in this case. CCTV being looked at very, very closely by police officials at this moment, even as we speak. Thank you, Rucha, for joining us. With that, we'll slip into a short break. More budget updates coming up. On the other side, don't go anywhere, because the final countdown begins even as Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman heads for the cabinet meeting to first brief her colleagues on what this budget has. Short break, back soon. Don't go anywhere. Just
the Amrita MBA. The Amrita MBA is more than a degree. It's a transformational journey that blends academic rigor with real-world relevance. With fully residential campuses across India, Amrita's business schools stand apart for their academic excellence and international recognition. Apply now. Amrita MBA.
She asks tough questions like no other journalist.
Rupee volatility driven by global markets, domestic mismanagement, or tax?
Global.
Domestic mismanagement to ho hi nahi sakti. You'll never confess. It was supposed to be one nation, one tax. It became something like one nation, 9 taxes.
She takes on the masters of Indian politics like no one else can.
Why does the Congress party live in denial of this? That this was done on religious lines and then killing them. Biggest difference working in the UPA government and the NDA government.
Because she speaks for you the way no one else can.
Are you saying Jeffrey Epstein was murdered?
Because your voice must be heard, your questions answered, above all else. Frankly Speaking with Navika Kumar.
Times now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are now looking at visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi arriving at Parliament for the cabinet meeting, expected to begin any time now. In fact, in this cabinet meeting, Nirmala Sitharaman, Finance Minister, will apprise her cabinet colleagues of what exactly are the headline takeaways, and I'd love to be a fly on the wall. I've always wanted to be, never quite made it inside as a fly on the wall. Yeah, I would have got swatted. Yes, you're right, Jaggi. This is Home Minister Amit Shah arriving at Parliament right ahead of the cabinet meeting. Anticipation high, not reading much from the smiles because the smiles never give anything away. It is an election year. For any party to stay in power, winning elections is the most important thing. But can it really happen at the cost of the economy? Can Finance Minister afford to be populist when prudence is the need of the hour is a question that we all need to ask tonight. You know, I can almost tell you what the opposition is going to say when they come out after the budget presentation, because that statement hasn't changed ever. They will say it's a lackluster budget, does nothing for the poor, increases income inequalities, no big ticket idea to increase India's growth rate, and blah, blah, blah. Am I wrong when I say this? But before I take a rain check on that, question tonight is also, freebies have only grown chiller in recent times. They've managed to do it in various states. It is competitive freebie promises that have gone on in every elections. And now we have 4 crucial states that are going for elections, 1 union territory. Our SOP's going to be the order of the hour. Something that should worry us all, because we're looking at correction, reforms, and looking at the economy on breaking away from the shackles and moving forward. What is the one thing I want to ask my panel? What is the one thing, Monica, that you think we will need to look at? Freebies, total no-no, but do you think Nirmala Sitharaman will be able to avoid the pressure?
I think the story has shifted to the states. You know, it's like, you know, parents have done a good job, they've skimped and saved. But of all the kids, there are some who are just splurging. without a thought for what the state deficits look like. Even in terms of implementation of a lot of things, I think the ball is firmly in the state's court right now. So she will continue as a good lady at the head of the financial ecosystem to do very conservative deficit numbers. That 4.4 is going to be achieved. So I think we are looking at this consolidation of the finance to continue. We are going to continue to see the capital investments happen, but there is a capacity limit to what the center can do. The implementation has to be in the states. So I think the story firmly should be with the states right now.
Anand Ranganathan.
I have a different view. I think it's not just the states that are to be blamed, it is the center that is encouraging this freebism. If you look at the on the eve of Bihar elections, that 10,000 one-off thing, it was dictated by none other than Narendra Modi. If you look at Maharashtra elections, all those schemes, you can call it freebism, you can call it whatever by any other name. But the fact of the matter is the freebism culture is directly from top down. It is not from bottom up. So yes, the states have to tighten the belt, but more than that, it's the center that needs to do that.
Absolutely, Jaggi.
So I don't expect any freebies this time, even though we have 4 or 5 major elections.
There will be infrastructure project X, Y, Z in Tamil Nadu, in West Bengal.
I have no quarrel if you want to set up infrastructure in Tamil Nadu or Assam or West Bengal. You know, what's wrong with that? It's a good thing. That's not a freebie. It will improve the capacities of those economies. What I don't expect is the kind of pre-election freebies that we saw before Delhi elections and various things, which is like all the tax things and all that. But of course, even the tax relief was not a freebie, but it's a good thing to do. But what I'm trying to say is the important thing you need to do, I mean, I partly agree with Monica on that, states have to do, but even more than the states, the most disempowered part of government is local bodies. Why is it that Maharashtra's Bombay or Chennai, or they have such atrocious infrastructure? I mean, one wrong thing that happened with GST was that all these fellows lost their revenue buoyancy on their own. Now they get largest from states, which is why you see most of these rural ministers want to sit on the urban development department and make money from that instead of actually improving the infrastructure in the states. So the empowerment and financing of urban bodies, which is the clue to jobs. You're not going to get jobs in rural areas. You're going to get jobs in urban areas. And if urban infrastructure is improved...
Absolutely, and it's a crying need because, yes, our urban infrastructure reeks like hell. And that's the point many people make. We are paying taxes. What are we getting? Our drains don't function. Our colony roads. You may have built airports. You may have built highways. Fair. But outside my house, the road is in a dilapidated condition. Pani aata nahi hai. We've seen the Indore. Absolutely. Will there be something on the urban?
Latian zone is fine, Navika.
We are not in the Latian zone. Only the mantris are. Well, and opposition leaders. Rohit Azad.
I mean, this argument about freebies, and I think difference of opinion is good in a democracy because otherwise, same opinion, everybody holds. What's the point?
Rohit, you don't have to be defensive. Just
no, I'm not. I'm going to go on the offensive.
Difference of opinion is exactly what makes
Navika,
everybody
I'm going to go on the offensive. So that's the reason. I think when there's a class bias there. When it is given out to the poor, it's a freebie. When there's a corporate tax cut, it's called an incentive. If you have a position on government not spending, then it should be consistent. You do it for all. You say that it's a freebie for the corporate, withdraw that. If you say it's a freebie for the poor, withdraw that. But you can't say that freebie is fine, but this one is not.
Agreed.
That is an inconsistent position to take. Absolutely. That is very important. Secondly, I think it is important to also see, whichever name you want to give it, the impact of that has been on the economy. You have given a freebie, and I call it the freebie, to the corporate sector. The economic survey has been saying that you have not responded for the last 4 years. That tax cut was given to you in 2018-19. That was a freebie, but nobody talks about that. When it goes to the poor people who are also generating demand in the economy, then you have a problem because we belong to a class who would always like of this growth, some bit to come here, but not go to the poor. That's wrong economics.
Not true, not true. But yes, it's a mixed bag. There are political compulsions and there is good economics in all of this. And
10 seconds, because
10 seconds where you've never spoken anything, Anand Ranganath.
there is nothing that Rohit had said that is wrong.
Voice.
I completely agree with him. But the fact is, somebody has to draw that line between what is welfareism and what is freebism. There are some things that are absolutely freebism, like MSP is freebism, like having government ads is freebism.
Wrong.
Like,
No,
for
Anand,
example,
you got it
old
wrong.
pension scheme reversion is freebism.
No,
let me please.
Sure,
I never
go
interrupted
ahead.
you. You see, you have the government mandated limit for buffer capacity, as much how much government can procure food grains, as about 40 million tons. It hovers around 25 million tons. You know what our procurement was 2 years ago? 100 million tons. Politicians don't have the heart or the guts to refuse procuring. Every year, we keep on procuring more and more of the food grains because we give MSP.
And then that
when we don't have enough storage capacity.
And then
Navika, can I respond to that?
Do we procure other products?
Just
Buy
one
only
second.
MSP.
Okay.
No, get others also. Procure more.
Achha,
but the
other
reason,
also.
one second. Now let me respond.
Okay.
Stocks are high. Stocks of food grains are high because you're not distributing. You procure, but you don't distribute. That is a problem.
80 million for 80
if
crores.
your public distribution system you dismantle, then you don't distribute. That is exactly why your stocks are high.
Well,
MSP provides...
it's the chicken and egg, and 80 crore people are being given. Distribution is happening. Are we still collecting more? That's another point. But there are some worries in the economy, and for me, the worries in the economy, Gurcharan Das, are the fact that private investment is just not picking up. Number two, HNIs, high net worth individuals, are leaving the country. Is there a connection between the two? Is there a problem that is happening there and a problem that needs to be addressed?
I think the fundamental issue really is the way, what I mean is the mindset of the bureaucracy. It's not policies. Yeah. It is the fact that the mindset, the bureaucracy's incentive system of the bureaucracy, as I said earlier, is to say no, and is to treat the person, the taxpayer or whoever is on the other side, in the old colonial way of law and order, of lack of distrust. That's why I think the best word that has been uttered in the last few months in the corridors of Delhi is trust-based compliance. That really has been music to my ears, because for the first time, these deregulation commissions, who I hope will create a bonfire, a real bonfire of those regulations which they are, and decriminalize most of them, and digitize most of them. That is what we are expecting. So there is good news, I think. There is good news that we could move towards and just to the point earlier on, we think of freebies as, yes, very correctly, that freebies take the place of investment that would create jobs, rather than giving instant gratification to anyone. What we don't realize is how badly the state finances are. Nobody is talking about that. The finances of many states have become dire. And that means they can't do. Where is the job? How can they create jobs when your finances are gone? And those reflect...
Absolutely, I agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more. But opening up this discussion forward, joining me this morning is an august panel, Gaurav Vallabh of the BJP, man, and he is also a part-time member of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council. And Gaurav Vallabh ji, I want to ask you, many are talking about the fact that while growth is robust, and in the context of the geopolitical situation, we are doing better than many of the neighboring economies and the fast-growing bigger countries. The fact of the matter is private investment not picking up is a huge worry, number one. Number two, elections that we have every now and then, which really gets down to how we can woo voters, taking away a lot of the fiscal discipline at the state level, at the center level. And number three, there is always this conversation of high net worth individuals leaving the country. How do you respond to some of these three issues that need to be addressed, probably in this budget?
Yes. See, Navika ji, all 3 points which you had raised are interlinked and interconnected to each other. And I will give you one by one response to all the 3 points. Number one, you asked about the private investment. It's correct that government's capex is in the last budget announced was 11,21,000 crores. But in the same way, the private sector capex is not growing up. It's growing. It's not deaccelerating. It's going up, but it is not at the same pace. Just to give you one data to understand this, that in 2014, the public capex in the budget by the government of India was somewhere around 4 lakh crore. And last year we had 11.21 lakh crore, 11,21,000 crore. So the same growth is not there in the private capex. There are 3 reasons. And I was listening to the members in your panel. One of the reasons pointed out by one of the learned panelists is the regulatory environment, the ease of doing business, and the predictability of the laws. So this is an issue on which government is consistently working. Already labor reforms are already initiated by government in the form of the 4 labor codes. The land reforms are in the pipeline. So what I used to say 3L, land, labor and legal reforms. So this is going to improve the private capex. And consistently we are reforming the land, labor and the legal side. In legal side, my focus is on the execution of the contracts and the decriminalization of some of the laws which are there. This is for the point number 1. Point number 2, you asked about freebies and the state of the states in our country. See, I slightly differ with the panelists because I was listening for last 10 minutes. We have 2 kinds or 2 broad categories of freebies. The freebies which are permanent and which doesn't create infrastructure or which doesn't create job, and the freebies which are temporary and which is a hand holding and which creates infrastructure or which creates a job, like G Ramji. So giving 125 days right to every rural family of employment is not freebie as per me, because it creates rural infrastructure. Point number 2, like scholarships in the schools. It's not freebie as per me because it creates a intellectual capital for the country. But there are certain freebies. I don't want to enter into the political discussion today. But there are certain freebies which are for the political reasons, for the election reasons. So they are not giving the long-lasting impact or the positive impact to the economy. But certain freebies are very much required, like Kisan Samman Nidhi. I don't consider that as a freebie. I consider that as a hand-holding, and it improves the consumption in the rural economy. And that takes the GDP to the next level, because your primary question was that why Indian economy is growing at 7.4%, whereas the other countries of the world like United States is right now growing at less than 2%, China somewhere around 4%, South Asian economy is somewhere around 5%, but we are growing at 7.4%, and that is the basic reason that our consumption pattern is rotating the economy. When in the last budget up to 12.75 lakh of income, it was exempted, the consumption got improved. In the GST rate rationalization, when GST of all essential commodities were slashed, the consumption were improved. And just to give you a data, after the income tax deductions and the GST rate rationalization, the total consumption additional in the economy is 5.25 lakh crore. So that is driving the economy. 140 crore people's consumption is taking the economy to the next level, and that is now becoming the core strength of our country. And so when you are going to improve the consumption, then naturally the demand is going to arise. When demand is going to arise, the private investment is going to improve. So private investment in last 4-5 years, got down first of all 2 years because of Corona. Then after that it started increasing, but rate was not very encouraging. But now it is going to match the public capex.
Well, that's a hope. That's a hope, Gaurav Vallabhji. But people have been talking about tax terrorism on this panel. The fact that ED, income tax, tax compliances, rather invasive, which is why a lot of businessmen like to operate out of maybe Dubai or somewhere else. HNIs are leaving this country, and that's a truth the government will have to face.
There is no tax terrorism. In fact, the tax laws were oversimplified. The new Income Tax Act is already there. It's oversimplified. If you ask any SSE, a common SSE, that had you received any information from the income tax after filing the return, he will say, yes, we received a SMS that received this, assessment is completed. So that kind of, and after the faceless initiatives in the income tax, there is nothing. And even if somebody wants to do tax terrorism, the policy will not allow you to do that. And coming to the HNIs,
then obviously you are in a country that we are not seeing much about. Anand, I'm coming to you, but I have Mr. Narayan Sethuraman joining me from the CII headquarters. He is co-chairman of the CII Trade Policy Council and CII International Council. Mr. Sethuraman, what are you expecting from this budget after the spate of FTAs that we've seen? Do you see private investment going up? Do you expect anything from the finance minister?
Morning, Navika. Definitely, we are looking at a big fillip for manufacturing and exports. There's also going to be a lot of focus on supply chain de-risking of imports. We're looking forward to all of that. We have to recognize that our merchandise trade deficit is almost 7% of GDP, with $280 billion, and that is unsustainable for a country of our size. So definitely there's a need to expand exports, and we look forward to policy initiatives from the finance minister as part of the budget.
Yes, we are looking forward for that, but Anand Ranganathan has a question for you, Gaurav Vallabhji, but before he comes in, my question is what the Congress is asking today. Should we be hearing about the Venezuela oil deal from President Trump, or should the government have announced it on its own?
Can I take Anand's question also, because then I will respond?
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Vallabh. No, I just wanted very quick 2 questions. Yes, you say Kisan Samman Nidhi is welfare. Why isn't there a Doctor Samman Nidhi or a Jawan Samman Nidhi? And second question is, according to you, the government ad budget that you see government splashing every day, congratulating people on their birthdays and everything in newspapers, in the last 10 years, the central government ad budget is 10,000 crores. Do you think that is welfare or that is freebism?
I'm sorry, I seriously object to this. I only want these ads to be more on television than on newspapers. So you may ignore question number 2. Please answer the other 2 questions.
Navika ji, is it not true, and everybody will agree, is it not true that as far as the large economies of the world is concerned, India is the fastest growing economy, with a growth rate of 7.4% for FY26 and projected growth rates for FY27, 28 and 29 by all multilateral agencies 7+%. Is it not true that inflation in the economy, and I am talking about the retail inflation, is somewhere around 4%? Is it not true that fiscal deficit targets of 4.4% of GDP is achieved? Is it not true that our exports had reached to $800 billion with a growth of service exports of plus 6.5% and merchandise export to plus 2.5%? Is it not true that our foreign exchange reserves are $700+ billion, which is equivalent to 11 months import?
Answer my question on the Venezuelan oil deal.
Very strong foundation base. So I am coming to that. So opposition parties are there just to ask somewhere, some questions or other, but they only told our economy as dead economy. Now, people who are seeing this economy as a dead economy, all their questions are irrelevant, Navika ji. जिसको चकाचौंध रोशनी में सूर्य भगवान के अंदर भी अंधेरा दिखता है, वो क्या उनके सवालों का क्या महत्व है? जो सूर्य पे पहुंच के बोलता है बहुत अंधेरा हो रहा है, तो फिर उनके सवालों का कोई महत्व नहीं रह जाता है.
चलिए, तो फिर आनंद जी के सवाल का जवाब दे दीजिए कि लॉयर सम्मान निधि, डॉक्टर सम्मान निधि, जर्नलिस्ट सम्मान निधि,
वो बहुत है. जर्नलिस्ट सम्मान निधि बहुत है.
अच्छा, ठीक है.
आनंद, I wish प्रोफेसर सम्मान निधि भी होनी चाहिए, because that is also going to benefit you and many professors. So coming to your question, Anand, hand holding किनकी की जाती है? किनका हाथ पकड़ के जो रफ्तार से इतना आगे, जिनको ग्रोथ का फायदा नहीं मिलता, उनका हाथ पकड़ा जाता है. When I say 7.4% growth, and if the entire country, some people are left, we require to hold their hand. So this is not revdi, this is not freebie. This is something to improve the rural consumption and take the people in the growth yatra. विकास की यात्रा में कोई भी पीछे नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए. And that is what the inclusive development and Modinomics is. जब आप 55 करोड़ लोगों के खाते खुलवाते हो, इसी को इंक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक्स कहते हैं. जब आप मुद्रा स्कीम के तहत बिना कोलेट्रल के लोन देते हो, यही इंक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक्स है और यही वेलफेयर इकोनॉमिक्स है. पर रेवड़ी, I agree with the point which you raised before I joined the panel, but because I was hearing you that some only for political reasons. Just 10 days before or 5 days before the election announcement, you announced something. I personally as economist, I am not.
आप बिहार की बात तो नहीं कर रहे. आपकी सरकार ने बिहार में बहुत कुछ ऐसा किया था, महाराष्ट्र चुनाव से पहले किया था, हरियाणा में किया था. A. Saravanan of the DMK also joining this broadcast. Mr. Saravanan.
Yes.
Also joining me is the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson Anmol Pawar. Welcome to this broadcast this morning. Pradeep Bhandari joining the panel with Sanjay Jha as well. Saravanan ji, chapter and verse has been said about freebies being bad. Do you think there will be no freebies? And are you under some sort of a sweaty tension because Tamil Nadu elections are coming up? Will Nirmala Sitharaman ji take away the wind out of your sails by announcing something big for Tamil Nadu?
Yeah, see, firstly, calling that as a freebie, I think is an insult. Whatever it is a welfare measure. When you give a 7% tax cut for corporates, it is hailed. And what have they done? You were discussing about declining private investment. We have given them a tax cut, and 3 lakh crores has been the loss for the government in the last how much ever time that has gone, minimum of 3 lakh crores. No private investments. And where did all the money go? All went away. And people are fleeing the country because they are not able to retain the money, or they don't see value in India's future. That is the kind of economy the BJP has built. If this is one aspect. The other aspect is, when you give something into the hands of the poor, they cannot flee this country. They have to be here. That money has to be spent in the economy, which will in fact spur consumption. I don't know how these people, without understanding these basic economics, insult as freebies, and how can a freebie be given and all that. So it depends. If somebody from the higher strata of the society is given tax cut, is given waiver on loan, it is hailed. But when it is given to the lowest strata of the society in form of 1,000 rupee or a 2,000 rupee, it is a freebie and it will spoil the culture. Prime Minister course corrected. He said, Revdi culture is spoiling the economy of this country. Then he may ensure that every BJP state in this country is following what Tamil Nadu is doing the Dravidian model of governance. We started this. We ensured that 1,000 rupee it should be given.
So
to
there
every
will be a
woman.
Dravidian
Now,
growth
across.
There will be a Dravidian growth, and for the Aryan growth, we will have to ask Pradeep Bhandari. Aryan growth kya hogi? Because Sarvanand ji is only responsible for Dravidian growth. You know, are we looking at a new kind of politics and economics? Well, we'll debate that after this very short break. I know it's absolutely not my view that we should take a break at this point, but kya kare? Small break, coming back in just the next 120 seconds. Don't go anywhere.
The Amrita MBA. The Amrita MBA is more than a degree. It's a transformational journey that blends academic rigor with real-world relevance. With fully residential campuses across India, Amrita's business schools stand apart for their academic excellence and international recognition. Apply now. Amrita MBA.
Time now. She asks tough questions like no other journalist.
Rupee volatility driven by global markets, domestic mismanagement or tariffs? Global. Domestic mismanagement to in sakti, you'll never confess.
It was supposed to be one nation, one tax. It became something like one nation, 9 taxes.
She takes on the masters of Indian politics like no one else can.
Why does the Congress party live in denial of this? That this was done on religious lines and then killing them. Biggest difference working in the UPA government and the NDA government.
Because she speaks for you the way no one else can.
Are you saying Jeffrey Epstein was murdered?
Because your voice must be heard, your questions answered, above all else. Frankly Speaking with Navika Kumar.
Welcome back to this broadcast for budget, and we have now exactly 29 minutes before Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman stands up in Parliament to present her budget on a Sunday, which is the February 1st, and her budget is going to be different from other budgets because this time Part B is not just about some tax tinkering here and there. It is about long-term and short-term goals. What we're also getting to hear at the moment is that there is going to be a strong emphasis on youth-centric schemes in this budget. Yes, the Prime Minister has often said that it is the youth dividend in this country that is a key focus area, and skill development will be something that will be the focus. Going across to Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan. Madhav, youth, a big part of also the voter base. I'm sorry, I'm not being cynical, but youth is the dividend that the Prime Minister has often spoken about.
Absolutely. Youth is one big, in fact, area and focus as far as this government is concerned. And clearly, of course, as far as the focus areas is concerned, spending on youth, sports is one area where we could see, in fact, likely schemes. What are these youth-centric schemes, though? We will have to look at. Skill development is also something that has been spoken about a lot over the last 11 years. How are we going to achieve those goals as far as skill development continue to remain? And in fact, how we will be able to achieve these goals? Perhaps the budget will be able to throw more light. So what really will be the allocation for international tournaments? We've looked at, of course, the Commonwealth Olympics, our great Olympic dreams
Commonwealth
as well.
and Olympics coming up, so there's going to be a big push to that infrastructure. More breaking news coming in at this moment, and that's on the GST front. Hina, what is it that you're hearing?
Well, the numbers are going to be officially released soon, but what we have learned that there's going to be at least a 6% increase in the gross GST collections for January. Now, this is important, Navika, because after the GST next-gen reforms were announced before Diwali, that was the last time when our GST collections were above 1.9 lakh crores. They were 1.96 lakh crore. From that month, they started falling. November, it was 1.70 lakh crore. December, it fell to, again, 1.75. In January, we are expecting it to be around 1.93 lakh crore rupees. So a big boost there coming in, some more money for the finance minister to spend.
Well, more money, and will it go to Tamil Nadu? It's a question that I want to ask Pradeep Bhandari. And Pradeep Bhandari, Sarvanan says the Dravidian growth model is better. Do you have an alternative Aryan growth model? Because he may have a point, because Tamil Nadu among the best performing states as far as investment is concerned.
Well, Navika ji, we have a Viksit Bharat 2047 model, and I will not take the DMK spokesperson very seriously, because his alliance partner Congress has only questioned him on his economic management. So first he should get an approval from his alliance partner, then he will have a response from me. But a larger point.
For once you are supporting the Congress party, Pradeep Bhandari.
The government. I am not supporting the Congress party. Those who cannot get the support of their alliance partners, they should not ask question. घर के अंदर ही अपने घर वालों को साथ में नहीं रख पा रहे तो क्या हमसे सवाल पूछेंगे? पहले घर के परिवार के लोगों को साथ में रखें, फिर हमसे सवाल पूछे. But Navika ji, the larger point today is that this is a government which is a reform express government. So this will be a budget which will be a reform express budget. And please note that the Indian economy is in a very historic moment under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which is in a Goldilocks phase with a very solid oasis of macroeconomic stability, with a single-digit inflation less than 2% and a 7% growth rate. Along with that, around 11 lakh crore of capex spend. Along with that, forex reserve being doubled, and for the first time you have the resources flowing to the commercial sector rising by 29%. So this is all of this points towards one thing, that the fundamental is very solid. So the expectation from your studio, which I've been hearing in the last 30 minutes, is a very legitimate expectation to have, because all of you are positive about the economy, and we've gone away from the days of the Congress party where we used to worry about double-digit inflation and current account deficit and twin deficits. So this, I believe that this budget you will see a lot of smiles in your on your panel, and Anand has some valid points, and I believe that those also will be addressed. But please note that this is the only government which has taken care of macroeconomic stability compared to no government since independence. So the macroeconomic stability is the best, and this is why today you have resources to spend on across sectors. You have for the first time the GVO of agriculture rising by 4.7% over a cross-decadal growth, which has never happened since independence. You have the defense budget growing by 9.09%.
Absolutely, and more breaking news that we are getting at this point is that disinvestment targets are likely to remain conservative. The economic survey says that government should come out of various investments and reduce their holdings to 26%, but Will that happen? Is that a reform that's taking far too long? We are also taking in calls from our viewers this morning on what their expectations from budget are. And the first caller is, when we get the first caller, we will go across to him. But Anmol Pawar, do you have any expectations from the budget, or should we expect you to say lackluster budget is what you're expecting, because that's exactly what you're going to say post-budget as well?
Navika ji, when we talk about a developed economy, we consider every section of society. And a budget that doesn't improve daily life is just arithmetic, because the poorest citizen is the true auditor of the budget. It reflects the vision of the government, it reflects the accountability. And today, we can see that no doubt we are the fastest growing economy, but whether these numbers have translated in providing a dignified, stable, and economic stable life to the common man of this country, that's the real question. And on that front, the data says that the government has failed, because they are providing 90 crore people with 5 kg ration. More than 80% of our country earns less than 10,000 rupees per month. Unemployment is at an all-time high. They promised us good days, but in return, we saw that they failed to provide employment. They failed to double farmers' income, and all their schemes, whether it was the Ayushman Bharat, whether it was Skill India, all are marred under corruption, and it's their own comptroller and auditor general report. So the reality is that the government speaks of growth, but the citizen speaks of survival, of EMIs, of hospital bills, school fees.
Pawar, I know you're demanding accountability, and you're absolutely well within your rights, but do you have any expectations? Are you expecting anything? If there's one thing that you'd want to ask Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, what would that be?
We wish and we suggest that real development will happen only when we'll have good government schools, and the people will get free education, good government hospitals where they'll get free healthcare, and we should not fight for basic amenities of life even after 70 years of independence.
All right,
BJP rules more
all
than
right,
22
all right.
states.
Good free education. Well, that's for the states to do as well. How many states have delivered on that front? But my first caller calling in, Vithoba, calling in from Bengaluru. What is your expectation, Mr. Vithoba, this morning from Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman?
Yes, I want some facilities for senior citizens.
All right.
Senior citizen, I am at 72 now. So if I go to a nationalized bank for a just secured loan for my emergency, they are simply rejecting my proposal. Even it is I have given security, and they want some IT and all. I have not filed IT, but I'm having income proof. I'm having...
all right, that's a very specific ask. I hope somebody in the finance ministry is taking note. Thank you very much, Mr. Vithoba, for joining me this morning. Also joining me is Shashwat Goenka, joining me live from CII. And Shashwat, what is your expectation? We're seeing a little bit of kabhi red, kabhi green from the markets this morning. Cautious outlook from the markets. How's India Inc. Looking at the budget, and what is it? What is that one big announcement that you're looking forward to from Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman?
Hi Navika, thank you so much. When you look at India over the last couple of quarters, we have delivered our highest ever growth in terms of real GDP. And India Inc. is very excited about that, because we believe that this budget is going to build on that growth momentum. We are expecting significant spends on infrastructure. This is not just on public infrastructure, but also on social infrastructure like education, like healthcare, and not just in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality education, quality healthcare. And we believe that that is what is going to propel the consumption economy in India ultimately.
Absolutely. Sanjay Jha, do you share the euphoria of India Inc. at this point? Do you think, the growth numbers in the last 2 quarters is something that will be built upon after the budget is announced?
Navika, I will answer your question, but I think the debate needs to be a lot fairer. I'm hearing 2 or 3 BJP spokespersons speak and they criticize the Congress, and we don't even get a voice on your program. Anyway, I will take 1/4 the time, but I will expose the lies that have been spoken. Number one, Mr. Gaurav Vallabh was my colleague in the Congress not long ago, and I know what he said about the BJP till he joined the BJP. He considered the economy not just dead, he considered it regressive. So I don't attach too much credibility to what he said on your show today. Second, they have the audacity to talk about social sector spending and inequality. Manrega, not just the name has been changed, the structure has been changed. India's poor will remain even worse off than ever before. Third, they talk of GDP. I have never heard Mr. Modi talk about the per capita income, which is the lowest among G20 countries and continues to be woefully inadequate. The poor and the middle class are suffering. Point number 4, very important. Does anybody even talk of crony capitalism anymore? That since 2014 to 24, and I'm arguing on data, not rhetoric. Here is the fact, Navika, 954 billion is the increase in the wealth of billionaires. And rural wages have gone up by 1.2%. And I'm not even taking inflation into account. And how many people live in the rural sector? Almost 60% of India. Last but not the least, look at the one reality. Somebody talked of skills program. I would request them to look at the CAG report, which talks to you about the huge corruption in the skills program in India. And of course, since I live in Mumbai, I have to share it on behalf of India Inc. because CII, FICCI, ASSOCHAM will not have the courage to speak on a public program. India Incorporated is tired with fear. They are scared and they know there is no level playing field. If they are in a particular sector, 2 big industrialists will come and capture that sector, and that is the reality of Indian business today.
All right, Sanjay Jha, it's a fair platform where you at least cannot complain that you don't get an opportunity to speak. You've spoken your mind, you speak every evening, and I welcome your points of view. But when you talk about, one section of the society where incomes are going up, just look at Mr. Rahul Gandhi's income tax returns and his wealth going up. I wish in fairness, you would also mention that he's part of that 1% that has seen growth in incomes. But joining me are callers, Rishabh Mishra calling me from Delhi, Rajesh Sehgal also a Delhi caller. Rishabh, what's your point? What do you expect from this budget?
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
I'm a lawyer, and
Okay.
I'll speak on this with our view. Basically, ma'am, whenever you will see any person who is specializing in a field, he has just started to work, like an advocate, a doctor, or a banker. He would need a skill development regard to his field. So there is no research, there is a skill development program going on. I would be expecting that it would go in a way forward that they would get a specialization with regard to their field, more focused on them.
All right. Fair demand and good suggestion. I do hope Finance Minister is listening to this one. Rajesh Sehgal, what's your expectation?
Ma'am, I think good morning to all people on the panel, and I think that the intent of the BJP government has been very good, and the middle class reforms and all they have been taking. The important point is that the money in the pockets, they have taken a cue from the Manmohan Singh government. And as the last caller called upon the skill development, the internship programs and all have to take part, like they were announced and all, but I don't think so there were any takeaway for the kind of internship programs. The implementation part of these programs are lacking. AI and other fields are massive. Take the Indian students, develop these kind of things, and India is going to give you a kind of a rebound. Even US can't think about it and all. So
Fair point, Rajesh Sehgal. Great suggestions coming in from both Rishabh and Rajesh. Pradeep Bhandari, I hope you will take notes and take them to your party, because these are positive, constructive suggestions. Also joining me this morning, Jayanti calling in from Madurai. Good morning, Jayanti ji. What is your expectation?
Ma'am, good morning, ma'am. I'm a low middle class homemaker, and my husband is an agent for a borewell rig company. And now their most expenses is only the fuel. 80% of fuel they are taking with their borewell and the rig company, and with that 80% they are putting GST on that. So it is very difficult for us to earn even 5,000 rupees per month for our expenses. And the groceries are too costly, becoming too costly after the GST reduction and all that. And a loan middle class persons like us, the government should reduce GST from the borewell and the rig agent companies.
All right. Lower income groups looking for some support. Pradeep Bhandari, I hope you will take that suggestion as well. Mr. Padmanathan calling from Bengaluru. What is your expectation, sir?
See, I am as a retired banker and a pensioner. I have my own grievances. That's a different thing. But if you look at the nation as a whole, this government has been doing a wonderful job. See, opposition's job is to see that they question the wrong things of the government. But here, persons like Mr. Sanjay Jha, very knowledgeable person, his only agenda is to always criticize. You should also have some amount of discretion to, wherever necessary, talk about the good things that the government have done. You must see how many people have been brought above the poverty line in the North Indian states, particularly in this thing where the predominance of this thing has been there. It is very unfortunate that the opposition is not behaving as a real opposition, constructive opposition and helpful opposition.
Well said. Mr. Padmanathan, let me check with both Sarvanand ji and Sanjay Jha ji if they want to turn a new leaf. Sanjay Jha, first.
Can I address the gentleman very respectfully, sir? You know, one of the questions that we have asked, and you should be interested because I think you look like all of us, a citizen of India who cares. This government of Mr. Modi that you admire a lot gave the corporate sector of India 1,50,000 crores. 1,50,000 crores, which over the last 7 years is over 10 lakh crores as a corporate subsidy. You know what you were told by Mr. Modi's government? They will create private investment, which Navika says is not happening. I'm not saying it. The world knows it though. And they said they will create jobs. In India, over the last 8 years, 18,000 people have committed suicide because they didn't have jobs. And you think questioning this government is being unfair, is being critical?
Ranganathan raising his hand. Anand Ranganathan, you want to come in?
This is why I love the people who come on to your show, who speak the common voice, the vox populi. They deal with just facts. Now, the Clems report was constituted by the UPA, and the Clems report said last year 46 million jobs were created. And let me talk of something called the lowest ever. We're talking of highest ever GST collection, vehicle sales. Inflation has been the lowest ever. Gini coefficient has been the lowest ever. There are so many things that are the lowest. So, as Monica correctly said, but the point is, and this is something that hypocrites always, revolve
hypocrite bola?
मैं नाम नहीं लूंगा ऐसे जो भी है. The point is, they are saying freebie or I am for welfareism. Of course I am. And this government has done more welfareism than any other previous government in India's independent history. I can give you the stats. But I also say this, that socialism/welfareism is only possible in a capitalist state. You need to generate that money. And that's why this government needs to get out of
free lunch.
businesses.
Milton Friedman's economics tells you that there is no free lunch. And I want to bring in Mr. Singhania. Mr. Singhania, I want to ask you, there are common people raising the question. Of course, everybody has a problem with the prices, whatever level the CPI inflation may be at. Household budgets are always under strain. We all know it and we all experience it. But if you were to look at the Indian economy without any of the blinkers that political party has, either biased positively or biased negatively, if you remove all of those, how do you assess the so far growth of the Indian economy, and what are you expecting, especially for the common people, in terms of the taxation policies? When the finance minister reads out her budget. Incidentally, yes, the cabinet has approved the budget, and in just about 9 minutes from now, we'll go across straight to Nirmala Sitharaman, but Mr. Singhania first.
Yep. Thanks, Navika. And I think there are more learned people here to talk and comment on the GDP growth. But I think what I'm very encouraged about is the compounding effect of the growth rate, right? So if you look at last 3-4 years, the growth rate has been consistently between 6 and 7, now 7.4% this year. And next 3 years, it's between 7 to 7.2%, right? If you just look at the compounding effect of that, that's the most encouraging statistics that you can get for the Viksit Bharat sort of roadmap, right? So I don't think there should be any doubt about the roadmap of the growth that Indian economy is on, right? And there can always be debate, but there shouldn't be a doubt that this is the best trajectory that we have had in the independent India history, and this is what will take us to the developed economy goals, right?
Are you a Sanghi?
I'm the most apolitical person on your show, but that's my very independent.
No, because that
side.
question will come from the
Sanjay,
panel, so I'm just preparing you for it.
I'm sure. And maybe I'll pass on this question to Anand Dio. But just before I stop, on the tax piece, Navika, one thing that I do want to demystify on this show is that no longer any tax proposal in the budget are about either a political agenda or even giving the freebie to the economy, right? Whether to the poor people or the corporate. All tax changes in last 3-4 years, if you look at whether last year budget where the tax slab rates were increased significantly to 12 lakh rupees, there is a proposal likely this year that there will be joint tax filing possible for a married couple.
You think that's a good thing?
I think that's a very, very progressive move if that happens, and you will experience.
Are you expecting? What's your bet on?
I think this should come through, and the tax exempt limit should go literally double, right? So from 12 lakhs it should become 24 lakhs for a joint tax filing for a married couple, right? And that's a big change that could happen, right?
Okay.
So that, to my mind, no tax change.
Is there tax terrorism in the country for corporates? Yes or no?
You heard Mr. Vallabh commenting on that, but as a tax professional, I can say is that lots of structural, lots of administrative changes have already been done. Refunds are coming much faster. Tax audits are happening in a more structured manner. I would say that it's much less now than it was about 10 years ago. That's how you might.
Tax terrorism is less now than it was 20 years ago. Well, now Sanjay Jha and Mr. Saravanan probably hearing this. But before I come to you, Mr. Saravanan, Karthik calling in from Bengaluru. Karthik, what is your expectation?
Hello.
Yes, Karthik.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, very audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Across India.
Taxpayer. Hello. Hello.
Yes, go on, Karthik.
Yes, ma'am. As a taxpayer, I would suggest that the government can give us some benefit for the middle class people, because lower class people has various schemes. Higher class people are enjoying with the CSR activities and other kind of exemptions. But being a middle class, government has just squeezed in.
You just got a tax break last year, not enough?
No, ma'am. As a normal individual, as a middle class, something from the government can increase the.
All right. Okay, fair enough. Dil mange more, but Sangmesh Hiramat also calling in from Bengaluru. What is your expectation?
My expectation in the two sides is there, ma'am. The first one is the jobs opportunities for the younger people has become less, and raising prices in all the areas. The prices are rising, and the people are not being able to manage their families and get to married also. The jobless persons are not being able to married also. So many people not getting even married also.
Okay.
So, and one more thing is, older women are, their treatment, they are being, cancer patients are there, stroke patients are there. Their facilities, it means for to get affordable what they are doing for them. It means individual not being able to take care themselves also, how they can manage to take care
so
of
two callers, having problems with marriage as well as from incomes. Shri Hari from Hyderabad, what is your expectation, sir?
Madam, good morning. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to ask my question. See, the problem with the financial institutions or the bank is the CIBIL score. Okay. So in spite of making all the payments, sometimes the CIBIL score acts very funny, particularly with reference to the credit card. And they only listen to the banker and not to the common man. So there should be some process like,
so banking reforms, the more we are hearing this, the more there is some